right. I now call this regular council meeting of the City of Santa Fe, April 16, 2026 to order. Natalie, roll call, please.
Mayor Brandon Noto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Marks.
Here.
Councilmember Schrader.
Here.
Councilmember McCamey.
Here.
Councilmember Jeanette.
Here.
And Councilmember Dickerson.
Excused.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be led by Pastor Josh McDonald from Arcadia First Baptist Church. That was a test.
Yeah, you got it right. Let's pray. Father, I thank you, Lord, for our elected officials and others, Lord, who serve our community. Thank you for Santa Fe, and most importantly, Lord, thank you for Texas. Lord, I pray for wisdom and guidance for the council tonight, Lord, and even beyond just this evening, Lord, as they make decisions for our future, Lord. I just pray blessings from you, and we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you so much. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir.
First thing I'm going to do tonight is present a proclamation on behalf of the city for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and this is...
My name is Lindsay Durant.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
And
meet
who are
you.
you with?
I'm with the Resource and Crisis Center of Galveston County.
And what do y'all do?
We are a crisis and resource center for people experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and sex trafficking. We're located right here in the county. We are the only shelter for domestic violence in the entire county.
And if people need help, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call our 24-hour hotline. I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized.
It's okay. We'll post it in the links.
Yes, and you can also visit our website, which is rccgc.org.
We'll make sure we put your contact information in the comments.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet, of course. So proclamation of the City of Santa Fe, Texas. Whereas the City of Santa Fe is aware that sexual assault is a growing concern nationwide and needs to be addressed. And whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month is observed each April to raise public awareness about sexual violence and to educate communities on how to prevent it. And whereas sexual assault affects individuals of all ages, backgrounds, and communities, and we must work together to support survivors with compassion, dignity, and access to resources. And whereas the Resource and Crisis Center of Galveston County is committed to providing advocacy, education, and prevention services while empowering survivors and promoting a safer, more informed community. Now therefore I, Brandon Noto, Mayor of the City of Santa Fe, Texas, proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Santa Fe, and do hereby urge all the citizens to assist victims of these crimes in finding the help and healing they need. In witness whereof, I have set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Santa Fe, Texas to be affixed this 16th day of April in the year 2026. Thank you so much for everything that y'all do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please don't feel obligated to stay. You're welcome to, but
Okay.
we won't be offended if you sneak out.
Thank you.
Okay, next I will invite the Santa Fe Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association to come up and make a special presentation.
Georgia, will you do the first one? I'd also like for the officers that are here in attendance to please come up with us as well, please.
Y'all can fill up the area right here. Yep.
If
No,
y'all wanna come on up here.
y'all have the floor. Help yourselves.
For those of y'all that don't know what we're presenting tonight, this is it if you want to pass this on down. That is a Lamarck officer's wife in that picture.
Bad rule.
Better than me.
Cameras this way. You gotta talk to the microphone. Yeah, you gotta talk to the.
It's okay. We have a microphone in the ceiling.
Okay,
They'll hear you.
all right.
Just talk loud.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kathy Moody, and on behalf of the members of the Santa Fe, Texas Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association, it is an honor to stand before you today. Our organization is made up of community members who have had the privilege of seeing firsthand the dedication, professionalism, and daily challenges faced by the Santa Fe Police Department. Through that experience, we've developed a respect for the work that they do to keep our communities safe. Tonight, we are proud to present something to our police department that reflects both our appreciation and our commitment to supporting their mission. After conversations and feedback from officers, it became clear there was a need for a safer, more effective way to transport combative or non-compliant arrestees. In response, our Alumni Association came together with a shared goal to help provide a solution that enhances both officer safety and detainee care. It is with great pride that we present this wrap restraint system. This equipment is designed to improve safety for officers during transport, reduce the risk of injury to a person in custody, provide a secure and humane method of restraint, and to assist in de-escalating difficult situations. We understand that every call is different and situations change rapidly. Our hope is that this tool will serve you well in those moments when safety, control, and professionalism are critical. This wrap is more than just equipment. It represents the strong partnership between your department and the Alumni Association. It is a small way for us to say thank you for the long hours and the unwavering commitment you show every day. Thank you for your service, and please accept this wrap system as a token of our gratitude and respect.
Awesome, thank y'all so much. And if I could please ask all of y'all to just stay right where you're at. If y'all don't mind.
Everybody squeeze it in for the photo op. Come on now. That one for the IG.
Thank you all very much.
Y'all just stay right here, y'all stay right here, please. Just stay right here, please. So I'm gonna tell y'all, so most of y'all that watch our meetings on a regular basis know that the former mayor, Bill Pittman, started an award called the Mayor's Spirit of Santa Fe Award. And this is an award for somebody that embodies the spirit of Santa Fe, and we all know what that is, that takes care of their neighbors, that goes above and beyond, that sees a need in the community and fills it, doesn't ever ask for any attention or any accolades, just does it because that's who they are. And so it's really hard to get people to come up here and accept an award when they're being awarded for not wanting to accept awards. But I'll tell you that the intelligence of God never ceases to amaze me, because I have a list of candidates and the months that I'm going to award them their award that I've set a year ago. And I had no idea that y'all would be here tonight presenting this award until we had our agenda setting meeting, and this award was already planned. So I didn't have to spoil it because she was already going to be here. But so tonight, I want to award the Spirit of Santa Fe Mayor's Award to Miss Kathleen Joel Wright.
God bless you. That is so nice. Oh my gosh. And I'm new.
Well, I'll tell you, for everything that you do with this association, your involvement at the chamber, you have the best night out party in town. But what you do day in and day out for our police officers and for our community, it doesn't go unnoticed, and we love you, Miss Cat.
I love you too.
Thank y'all so much. Again, y'all are welcome to stay, but please don't feel obligated. We won't think it's rude. Sneak out. Or if anyone wants to switch with me, I'll sneak out.
Yeah, you got some votes to do.
Got some votes to do. All right. Finally earned that paycheck, right? Gonna earn that paycheck tonight.
Getting this on Monday. Good luck. Hey, there's three of us, we'll do it.
Who needs enemies with friends like me and mine, you know?
Getting the straps on somebody?
Okay. No big deal. I've got a written one here.
Figure it out.
Okay. No worries. All right, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the rest of the meeting. For those of y'all that stayed for us, we certainly appreciate it. All right, we will move down to number four, presentation and approval of minutes from the March 13th special meeting and the March 19th special meeting. Council, those were included in your agenda packet. You've had an opportunity to review them.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Schrader,
Yes.
Councilmember McCamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. We'll now have presentation of department reports by staff. Mr. Collins.
All right, we're going to do tonight a little bit different because Mr. Zepeda has to give the quarterly update. So I'm going to let him do the finance department since he's already up here, and then I'll jump into the rest of the departments tonight. So Mr. Zepeda, if you'll lead us off. Thank you.
All right, Rudy?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I wanted to go ahead and start off with the February 2026 monthly finance reports. So just because of the recent changes in the meeting schedules, Council should expect these finance reports to be about 2 months behind the close of the periods, since otherwise it would give us about 15 months to get the reports out to you after the close. So since we only have 1 month, one meeting per month, we expect this night we'll go over February's, and then next month we'll go over March's monthly finance reports. So this month for February consists of 6 sections, including the summary, year-to-date budget versus actual through February by department and program category, the balance sheet through February, sales tax reports for March and April for sales in January and February respectively, the HDL sales tax analysis for April, and of course the February check register. So highlights of the report, I know it's lengthy. Year-to-date revenue is $4.46 million. Year-to-date expenditures at $4.29 million. A net surplus of $176.85. Projected fund balance of $4.24, and that translates to approximately 5.4 months of operational requirements. And there's 67% of the budget remaining after this month. Sales tax is the primary fiduciary concern. Heading into the second half of the year, we have a year-to-date sales tax that is projected at 2.4% below the amended FY 2026 budget, a shortfall of approximately $89,900 for the city and $30,000 for the EDC. March payments were down 4.8% year over year for the same month. That's collections in January. April payments were 9.7% over prior month at the same period for last year, and that is about 1.4% year over year for the year to date. So it's encouraging for obviously April, but it is something that we will be needing to address with council. So given the 2 months trend, regional comparables, and the HDL forecasting data, staff is recommending that we reduce the sales tax expectations for the remainder of the fiscal year 26 and for the 27 year budget. Number 6 is the EDC and the city have successfully upgraded to our new ERP system, which is the MCSJ Edmunds GovTech accounting system. And we're about halfway done with the entire setup, but at least the financials and the payroll are done.
And we'll be getting the rest of them, including the accounts receivable and permits done here before the summer. The city has been awarded an additional MITMOD grant for the Runge Park standby generator upgrade, and we'll be taking that to council next month for selections on which vendor we'll use for that generator. And the February AP disbursements totaled $934,405. Notably, that included the $221,000 for Texas Materials Group for the MITMOD South Road, and $172,500 for the new tractor, and almost $40,000 for the Motorola radios for the police department. If we want to continue on the investment report, this is for the first quarter 2026, which ends December 2025. The portfolio that you all have, you should have a copy of that. The quarter ended with $4,721,051, down from $5,225,935 at the start. There was an offset of about $49,800 in interest earned during the same quarter. The months of operation for that period through December is about 5.2 months of operational coverage. And multi-bank securities position is the city's best performing asset of about 8.34% APR, but it does mature here at the end of the year, so we'll have to make some reinvestments as it comes due. And I think I have talked enough.
Thank you, Rudy. I appreciate that. Council, do you have any questions for Rudy regarding his update? No. All right, we will move right along then into the rest of the department reports. First, with municipal court, for the month of March, we had a significant increase of 327 new cases filed. We had 163 warrants issued, up 33 from the prior month. And our big up for this month, I know that Ms. Lisa is very happy. We brought in almost $47,000 for the month of March. So that is a significant increase for us in municipal court. Next, we'll move on to the Community Services Department. We had 225 permits issued. We had 16 of those being new residential permits, which is also up. If you remember, for the past few months, we've had a little bit of a dip. So this is awesome to have some new homes being built in the city of Santa Fe. We collected almost $56,000 in permit fees, and they completed 212 inspections for the month of March. Next, for the Parks Department.
Hey, Seth, one thing. On the community services, on the new residential permits, could you look at having on there maybe year-to-date on there?
Yeah, we can definitely add that to that. All right, so to continue on to our Parks Department, we had 5 rentals at the Runge Community Center and 2 at Thelma Weber. We didn't have any at Timberla Park for last month, but they collected $1,165 in rental fees. All right, next, moving on to the Police Department, we had 4,016 calls for service. We had 64 arrests, 390 traffic stops, and 238 of those 390 received a citation for their stop. For CID, we have 67 active cases. They cleared 18 cases, and they had 24 new cases. So they have been very busy in the Criminal Investigation Division. Next, to move on to Public Works, we had 45 segments of roads that were patched. We had several areas around the city where we had to remove debris and trees. We've had some significant wind. I think that's been a big cause of that. So our guys have really been trying to pay extra attention to that, just in preparation, as hurricane season will be on us before we know it. So we want all of our ditches clear and free of any debris. So we had 130 linear feet of new culverts installed, and then they corrected 40 linear feet of culverts last month. They excavated on Avenue I from 13th to 14th, 750 feet. And then on 23rd Street from Avenue M to the south side, 1,100 feet. And then on Avenue M from 18th to 23rd to 2,600 feet. So our guys have been really busy in public works. Next, we'll move on to the library. We've had 2,160 circulations. We have 85 active accounts right now. Their door count was 2,230, and that is extremely high. And I think the reason being is because the amount of programs that our library offers. I know that they are very well attended. So our per capita is at 15%. So our residents saved $16,624 this month. Just in the cost of the books by renting them at our library.
I could be wrong, Becky, but that 15% per capita, that has increased fairly significantly here recently.
Well, and it's March too, so, in October I had 18, but it fluctuates, but we have been increasing. In February I had 16, and in March I had 15. And of course, we're headed into summer, so it's gonna be even higher, so thank you.
All right, next to the fire marshal's office, our fire marshal has completed 3 burn pile inspections. He had 23 burn permit renewals. So we have 192 active burn permits right now in the city. We had 13 fires within the city limits of the city of Santa Fe. He completed 2 fire investigations, and he completed 11 fire safety inspections. And to move on to a more fun part of his job is code enforcement. He has 20 new cases this month. He has closed 6 cases, and he has 10 ongoing cases from the prior month that he's closing out. Next is the Santa Fe Resiliency Center. I had the privilege to meet with Ms. Jacqueline, our director of the Santa Fe Resiliency Center, this past week. And in my conversation with her, she asked what is a way that how they could alert the community of the services that they offer. And as you see right here, they've had a severe increase in people coming to them, but they definitely have the ability to take on more people. You don't have to be affected by the Santa Fe shooting to utilize their services. They offer counseling services for everybody free of charge. You can utilize their services. If you make an appointment, they try to get you in as soon as possible. So we're going to work together to try to promote the Resiliency Center here at the City of Santa Fe because it's a great resource. Mental health wise, we're very lucky to be able to have that in our community.
Free of charge.
And free of charge too. So for the month of March, they went up 47.5%, which is awesome from last year. So that's a huge increase in the number of counseling hours they had. And then just the number of people they're counseling has went up significantly as well. They've had a 28% increase. So it's great that they've had these increases at the Resiliency Center. Any questions, guys, on anything that was brought up tonight? All right. Well, I appreciate your time. We'll let you take the floor, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Collins. All right. Next, we have item number 5, which is our citizens' comments. And any person with city-related business not on this agenda may speak to the council. Time is limited to 3 minutes in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The city council may not deliberate on the comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. Is there anybody that is here to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? I already got it. All right, well then we will move on down to 6 business, A, new business. Council, we have a consent agenda this month. Again, they are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on these items unless a council member requests that any of them be pulled out to be discussed. You see the items there.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette?
Yes.
Councilmember McCamey?
Yes.
And Councilmember Schrader?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Number 2, this will be under our Community Services Director, Miss Georgia. She's coming in hot. Item number 2 is going to be a public hearing, ZC-122925, request to change the zoning classification at 5330 Avenue N, Santa Fe, Texas, legally described as Abstract 47 L. Crawford, survey part of Outlot 287, 287-1, Altaloma outlots from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial.
So I'll give a brief description and then I'll let you open the public hearing. So the owner of this property at 5330 Avenue N has filed an application for a rezone request from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial. The property was utilized as a commercial property from the time of construction, which was prior to the establishment of the city, which classified the property as a legal non-conforming use when the property was annexed into the city limits. However, under the terms of the City of Santa Fe Unified Development Code, or the City of Santa Fe zoning ordinance, when a land or structure of legal non-conforming use ceases to be used in such a manner for a period of 90 days or is abandoned, the use is considered as discontinued or abandoned and cannot be resumed. Due to the period in which the structure on the property has remained vacant without a commercial tenant, the commercial use has been discontinued and the property has reverted to the zoning classification of agricultural residential. The property owner has initiated an application to rezone the property from agricultural residential, to rezone the property from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial, which will allow for commercial tenants to occupy the space within the constraints of the zoning ordinance. These limits have been provided to the property owner and discussed at length for future solicitation of business. During the planning and zoning meeting, Vice Chairperson Wagner McGee and seconded by Commissioner Wofford to deny the rezone at the property of 5330 Avenue N from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial. The motion failed with a 3-3 vote, with Chairperson Davis, Commissioner Mills, and Commissioner Villery voting in opposition. No additional motions were made and the request has been deferred to City Council.
So did they postpone it or?
No, they had a concern that there was not a specific use by the requester, which is the property owner. After the hearing, the owner did specify, which I'll let him speak to that, because I believe he'll be able to answer your questions a little bit better on it. But they were concerned that if they were to rezone it and he were to turn around and sell it, that if the building were demolished, someone might come in and try to put in a gas station or something of the sort that is allowed within the neighborhood commercial use. So they did not offer another motion. They sent it straight to City Council for decision.
Okay. All right, so it is 7:31 p.m. I will open the public hearing up for citizens' comment. If there is anybody who would like to speak during this public hearing, please come forward, state your name, and you'll give 3 minutes to speak about this item. Find my phone.
Right yonder.
Hi, my name is Jim Butcher, and I'm the owner of the property. My family purchased it in 2004. And I have a brief note. I took the feedback from the planning and zoning meeting and structured the proposal that would potentially address these concerns. This is not a retail or high-intensity commercial development. It is a small office space use within an existing building. Everything is capped and controlled with no more than 7 tenants, which is limited to 2 to 3 vehicles, no heavy equipment, and no outdoor activity. Even for contractor-related businesses, this would be strictly for administrative use, no equipment, no storage, and no job site activity for the property, like I stated before. I also understand the concerns about the property being under neighborhood commercial zoning, such as a gas station. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm requesting a controlled, low-impact use, and I'm willing to accept reasonable conditions. Any type of deep restrictions that you guys might want to impose, I'm okay with that, to ensure that we do the proper usage. Thus, I'm willing to accept that and prohibit any high-intensity use like a gas station, drive-throughs, and heavy retail. This isn't about opening doors broadly to commercial development. It's about responsibly using the existing property in a way that remains compatible with the surrounding area. At the end of the day, this is a controlled, low-impact use that I'm structured specifically to address your concerns, and I'm simply asking for the opportunity to move forward with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hello, good evening. Just state your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Creighton Carpenter. So, good evening, Mayor Noto and members of the City Council. My name is Creighton Carpenter, and I, along with my wife and my mother-in-law, live adjacent to the property in question. And I'm here to oppose the request to rezone this property from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial. This area is currently residential and agricultural in character. While there is already some non-residential activity nearby, that does not justify expanding commercial zoning. In fact, residents are already dealing with traffic, noise, and safety concerns, as this rezoning would intensify those impacts. The request is for a broad commercial category, not a single business, which means the long-term effects on the neighborhood are unknown and cannot be fully evaluated today. Approving it also sets a precedent for further commercial encroachment along Avenue N, gradually transforming this corridor away from its current residential and agricultural use. And traffic is another major concern. Avenue N is not designed to handle additional commercial traffic, including service trucks, deliveries, and customer service vehicles, which raises safety risks for residents and children. And in fact, the Braves Little League football field is just a stone's throw away from this road. Similarly, there are unanswered questions about buffering, lighting, and drainage that could directly affect the neighboring homes. And finally, this rezoning could appear to be spot zoning, right? So it changes the designation from a single parcel in a way that is inconsistent with the surrounding area and primarily benefits the property owner rather than the broader community. And then I would respectfully ask the council to explain how this request aligns with the city's comprehensive plan and serves the public interest. They say predicting the future is a fool's game. The dark horse in this is what actual business or businesses will really end up on this road in the midst of these homes and families. This is a roll of the dice I pray the council is not willing to chance. For all these reasons, I respectfully request that the council deny this rezoning request. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. I have just a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
How long have you been there?
How long have I been there? I've been there about 4 years. It's the house that my wife grew up in, and my 87-year-old mother-in-law who lives with us has been there her whole adult life when she got married at 17.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So was the property that we're considering tonight, was that operating as a commercial property when you first moved there?
Yes, it was. I talked to some of the people there at one point, and I think they were making candles or something in there.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, is there anyone else here to speak? If you'll just state your name for the record, please.
Craig Landry, good evening, Council and Mayor. Lifelong resident of Santa Fe, been there 56 years. The house I'm in now, built 22 years ago, still there. A lot of my family is right there on the same block. The rezoning of this piece of property has concerns. My main residence is 220 feet from the property, and I have a rental on a corner of Avenue O and 24th, which is 90 feet from the property. So I have two dogs in this fight, I guess, if you will. My issues are self-sustained drainage, nuisance lighting, and excessive noise. That corner of 24th and O, any light rain, you're gonna see flooding in that area. Drive by after one of these rains. And it just so happens a property that they're wanting to annex is, it's almost like there's a trench that comes through diagonal across there, and it's low lying, it's constantly holding water. So I don't know what kind of drainage plans that they have going there. Avenue N is already being damaged from garbage trucks at the Mara Waste Repair Shop. What type of truck can we expect this business to add to the damage to the roads? How will our already increased property appraisals be impacted with the commercial property next door? I have no idea. I've never been through this before. We're in a rural area and there's no commercial around us, no commercial properties. Mr. Butcher had an opportunity to apologize to his neighbor about the fence that his crew ripped up while clearing his property. The timber mulcher hitched onto the fence and rolled up into a big old ball, and it's still sitting there. And that was, I don't know, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. He told the P&Z meeting last week that the hurricane knocked that fence down, which is not the case. He also stated the property had been sitting idle for 6 months. I don't remember seeing anything going back there for probably a year and a half. The weeds are growing up around that place. Until recently, they went and started mowing and clearing. They have a big roll-off box out there. So we had to listen for the last month and a half to timber mulchers, chainsaws, just everything for clearing a piece of property out. And it come to a screeching halt this last couple weeks. Don't know why, but it did. We were told by the crew that's doing the work that they were planning on RV sites or tiny homes on the lot. That's kind of what sparked our interest in what's going on over there. So write that one down. There's either lots of misinformation or lies coming from Mr. Butcher. I don't know what it is because we've heard several different stories and different iterations of the story, what he's doing and why he wants to be out there. We don't know. Can I ask him, is he a resident of Santa Fe? Can I?
You just address the council. You're just addressing the council, Mr. Landry.
So my question to him, is he a resident of Santa Fe? And if not, would the city that he lives in allow commercial right next to the residence that he's at? Think about that one. All these issues will affect the quality of life around us, and would appreciate the city council to hear our concern.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. Jason, are you next?
I'm next.
All right, come on up.
Jason Landry. I have some pictures if that would be useful. Just in case y'all aren't familiar with the area. I'll also show you what you see every day now.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
We'll take the file record. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I've got it pulled up here on Google Maps, so.
Okay,
I
all right.
can look at it.
My name is Jason Landry. I've lived at 5323 Avenue O since 2002. My property is roughly 165 feet from the property of 5330 Avenue N. I grew up at 5301 Avenue O, my parents' house, since 1974 when they purchased it. The Claytons, the Carpenters, Chuck, they live at 5319 Avenue O. They were there prior to my parents, so they've been there for a very long time. My brother and his sister and my sister-in-law live at 5215 Avenue O since 2000. They also own the rental house at 12618 24th Street. My sister and brother-in-law own the rental house at the corner of 24th, which is 12630 24th Street. You can see that on the map. My main concern with the 5330 Avenue N property being zoned as commercial is excessive noise, activity, lighting, potential additional flooding, and now an open line of sight to the back of the building. You can see that in the pictures. That's what we see when we walk out the back door in the patio. The back property of 5330 Avenue N has always been heavily wooded, which provided a buffer between us and the property, and also the AmeriWaste garbage truck repair shop. So we never really had to look at it. We could hear it, but now it's a clear line of sight. Since it's been cleared, it's opened a direct line of sight to both businesses and any future lights, noise, and activity. It's open and visible to all the properties mentioned. We already have excessive noise and lights from the Braves football field for 6 months out of the year. Practice and games start at 7 a.m. and go to late into the evenings with bright lights, yelling coaches and parents, music, and an announcer on a very loud PA system. We're not ones to try to tell someone what they can and can't do with their property. Being commercial changes that, which is our concern. So we're only trying to save what peace, quiet, and privacy we have left. If residential commercial is granted, I hope we can work together to preserve any remaining privacy and minimize disruptions in our lifestyles that we've been used to our whole life. Thank you.
Jason, I have a question for you, and maybe for Craig too, but, so this property was operating in a commercial sense in the past, right?
It has in the past, yes,
So-
there's been several things.
So whenever it was operating commercial, things like noise and lights, I mean, was all of that an issue then?
I cannot say that it was an issue. Again, there was a large section of that property that was heavily wooded. We couldn't see it. It created a buffer between us and the AmeriWaste.
And that's been taken now?
That's completely gone.
Cleared out all the way to
Correct.
the property line?
Correct.
In the back, where you have this orange box fixed out?
That's where
what they've
that's
gone
where it
and
was
cleared all that
correct.
out? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak during this public hearing? All right, well then, it is 7:45. I'm going to close the public hearing at this time. And council, the floor is yours to ask any questions of any of the residents or the property owner.
Can we bring up, we want to bring up on Google Maps, so that way everybody can have a clear view of what this street looks like, and we'll provide that on the screens.
So while they're bringing that up, the one thing that I would like to note for the people who spoke, as well as a reminder for council, currently as the property sits, where it was sitting in a non-conforming use as agricultural residential, it did not have to conform with any of the regulations for a neighborhood commercial property. It was acting as a non-conforming property, so there really wasn't any regulations. As a neighborhood commercial property, there are regulations that are in place as far as screening, lighting, operation times, noise, parking, fleet vehicles, any of those types of things. As a non-conforming use, there's not any improvements that can be made on that property at all. They are stuck as they are. As far as anything with expanding the building or adding anything that has to be permitted, they cannot do anything else with that property. The Galveston County Appraisal District and the tax office do have this property listed as a commercial property. And as far back as I can find, it has been listed as a commercial property. So as far as appraisals, it's not gonna change.
Was it homesteaded or anything like that?
No, it's been listed as a commercial property.
So Georgia, when you mentioned improvements, that means he can't expand parking? If it stayed like it is, he can't expand parking, he can't put more lighting in? He's limited to what he has right now to work with?
Correct.
Okay.
Georgia,
Yes.
when this changes to, say this changes to commercial, is there any changes to water retention he would have to deal with? Or is this gonna be grandfathered because it was already there? Will he have to take, that is a terrible intersection. 24th, and man, it's a lake. And I know this was there before, but when we change it, does he have to retain his water? Can he? I mean, we can't put water off on somebody else. When this changes, if it changes zoning classifications, will he be under retaining his own water? Will he have to put a retention pond in?
Only if he's adding an additional footprint.
Okay.
And if it did go, because somebody was concerned that if we rezone this to commercial and he went away, they could put a gas station. Can you put a repeater clause in there that states that you can't do that after it was, you know what I'm saying?
There is the option to deny the straight request for a rezone and have him resubmit as a conditional use permit for a multiple occupancy office building, which is something that he had discussed after the deny from the planning and zoning. That would have to go back through planning and zoning and then come back for an approval for city council. So there is an option to do that, but that conditional use would stay as a neighborhood commercial conditional use for the entirety of the time that that building was on that property.
Conditional use permit is tied to the permit holder, isn't it?
No.
If the property were to sell,
It's tied to the property.
it's tied to the property.
Yes.
But Georgia, if I looked right, zoned AR, conditional use is not an option, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like what Georgia was saying earlier, that had it never closed down and it continued operating as an non-conforming, we wouldn't, they could have gone in there and built more buildings and put more concrete down, and there's nothing we could have done to require any type of detention or anything, so.
No, even as non-conforming, they can't expand anything over these years. They couldn't have put more parking or anything. Any upgrades to the non-conforming is not allowed. Is that correct?
Right.
So, and I'm looking for feedback from the rest of the council here. I studied this for a while. Per our terminology, vacant or abandoned. So if you go in and look at the definition of those terms, by definition, that means the building needs to be empty, no content, no activity, period, by definition of that term. The building's not empty, it still has content. Individuals have been in and out of the building over this duration. So by the terminology in our ordinance, it's really not out of compliance, if you look at it in that aspect. So, in my opinion, there's no reason he couldn't move forward with the non-compliant because there has been activity in the building versus the rezone.
I was at the meeting. I sat here and I listened to everybody. You talked about putting 7 offices in there. I'm gonna ask the question. I don't,
Don't go too far.
Well, it's gonna go far.
I wasn't talking about you.
No, okay,
Hey, and Councilman Schrader, if you can just hold one just a second, if we can move to the next item, that way we can have, because we never came out of that agenda item, if we can go to the next. So then we can, out of the public hearing, ask these
You're
questions.
right,
if
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
Item number 3, consideration and possible action, ZC-122925, request to change zoning classification at 5330 Avenue N, Santa Fe, Texas, legally described as Abstract 47, L. Crawford Survey, part of Outlot 287, 287-1, Altaloma Outlots, from ag residential to neighborhood commercial. Councilmember Schrader, you have the floor.
okay. We talked about building office space in there, or something, you never have nailed down to what it's gonna be. I see scientific tech services. I wanna be very clear on what we're doing in that building. There's not gonna be any, we're not gonna be testing lab monkeys or doing stuff in there, are we? I'm serious.
So Councilman, I understand your concern for sure, but I just want to make sure that we're framing we're framing this correctly. Tonight, what's on the agenda is to rezone it from ag residential to neighborhood commercial.
That's correct.
We can't put any caveats onto that. If we want that to be the case, then it may be that it needs to go through planning and zoning for a conditional use permit. But all we can put, I mean, that's the way I understand it. I mean, we can't, if we rezone it, it's rezoned neighborhood commercial. It can be used for anything that's under the neighborhood.
That's right, is
commercial.
it under that, yeah, it's a wide.
Any of the
variety.
permitted uses.
I just,
Under the current zone, it can't go back for conditional use. It's not an option for.
Under the way that it is now, no, it could not be because it's non-conforming, so.
it's not like we're welcoming in a.
But I wanna make-
Taking a permit for a stop and go or
What Dana has said is intriguing to me. Is that the?
Could you say that again?
The thought that Dana Marks. No, I mean, is that the understanding of the administration?
Technically, under that definition, that is correct, that it has not remained vacant. They have not moved. I drove by the property myself and looked through the windows, and there's still some furniture in there. There has not been a point of sale, at least in my knowledge, in the past.
That's the other thing I was gonna ask. Mr. Butcher, how long have you owned the property? I mean, did you just purchase it?
No.
Or you owned it back whenever it was still operating?
2004.
So what brought this up? I'm just curious, what brought this up to planning and zoning anyways? How did all of this come about?
He had emailed me and was asking about getting a certificate of occupancy for a loan. And so when I asked about how long the property had been unoccupied, because I didn't have a certificate of occupancy on file, that's what triggered.
Because it had been consistently occupied since it was in the county. Is that why there's not a CO for it? Okay, gotcha.
Ultimately, this will circle back to us cleaning up our language in our ordinances where we need to make some changes.
Yeah.
Whether in the future, non-conforming refers to tenants or.
And this was part of the strategic plan. We are no longer using the comprehensive plan. It was voted on that we would use the strategic plan from the city, and it is in there to clean up some of that language, guys, just so the public knows.
Mr. Butcher, is it your intent to expand or add to this property?
No, sir, I just want to run out the offices that are already existing inside the property.
So you just cleared out just for aesthetic purposes, just to make
It looks beautiful, for me, it looks beautiful. I apologize but the idea of the
I think
land.
trees and grass looks pretty good.
I understand, and I'm more than willing to put trees and grass. And by the way, as far as the drainage, there is a pond, and I'm willing to expand it. I mean, that's not a problem. There is a pond on the property. So I'm willing to expand that if that was a condition, absolutely no issue on that. My goal was to fence the whole property, 8-foot fence going all the way around. So it would just be enclosed in that sense. And hence, when we're applying for a loan, it can't be agricultural or residential. So,
Right.
yeah.
So if we just left well enough alone, not saying I'm advocating for that one way or another, I'm just thinking out loud here. If we left well enough alone, meaning that he would not be able to improve the property in any way, correct? Would that be acceptable to you?
Well, as long as you allow me to fix the fence.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm not adding any more footage to the property, not putting more concrete down, none of
no tiny homes or RV
Absolutely not.
pads.
That's a whole different zoning.
I understand, yes, it is. Okay, all right. Council, any other questions for Mr. Butcher? I don't want to make him walk back and forth all day. No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You might have to come back up. We'll see.
I'm not understanding why it came before us, if he could have done it without, it's had something to do with the loan, is that what I'm?
He can't get a loan in under ag.
So what do we have to do there for him?
Oh, so it can't stay ag residential because I told you you'd probably be back.
Correct.
And occupancy will work also.
So if
Just if you
council
have a
is
CO.
determining that he is compliant to continue to operate under a non-conforming use as it has been operating the entire time since it's been annexed into the city, then I can write that letter and they can close his loan.
What about, so the only concern that I have about that, I mean, I know we're all goodwill tonight, you know, but things change, you know. The one thing that I worry about is leaving it non-conforming. We don't have a whole lot of ability to regulate what that property, like as far as shielding light, noise, all of that. You know what I mean? Because those requirements aren't under ag residential. It's only under commercial, where you have to make them put the shade on the lights. Y'all remember the center
The
point?
shielded lights, yeah.
But whatever,
And having to put up a fence in the back that's, you know, a barrier that's opaque, and I mean, we can't, I mean, we could ask him to out of the kindness of his heart, but we couldn't.
Enforce it.
Yeah, it's not enforceable at that point.
Mayor, I go back to this. Our corridors need to be commercial, our neighborhoods need to be neighborhoods. If we do this right now, like you're saying, we're coming back to this. We're coming back to it. We've been talking for 2 years about zoning up here. And now it's come to light. Now we're having things come in here and the exact reason for it. But that, when we put a new business in a neighborhood, I wanna know exactly what that new business is doing. And I wanna have some type of control over it. Because we've been in this position before. I wasn't on council then, but it was right before I got on council. And we had across the street here, we changed something for someone. And they said, you know, they were gonna do something with it. And they changed. And it wasn't what they said they were gonna do. But we're pushing this zoning. We're pushing our corridors commercial, our neighborhoods. You know, I see not being able to put limits on this property is troublesome for me. Under the way it sets now, if we were just to go and let it roll like it is right now and not change anything, George writes the letter, he gets his loan. I mean, we're in no man's land still. Sooner or later, we got to get to, you know, A, Z. Nothing, we have to be black and white. We have to have some type of, if anybody watched that meeting last week, they saw two things come in two different votes. It was the same stuff. So whatever we do here, I mean, we can either, whatever we're doing here, we're kicking this down the road unless we make a real decision. And I don't see how you make a real decision not knowing what it is. It's not like we're approving a Chuck E. Cheese to come into town. We know that's gonna be a Chuck E. Cheese. You know, this right here, we're to what he wants to do. I just don't know. I mean, this one troubles me. I see both sides, but it troubles me. I'm like Dana. I mean, seeking advice from council, seeking advice from the mayor.
So what triggered it to go from non-conforming to agricultural residential?
There are certain things that I can make a call on, and there are certain things that I get to divert. And this was, when things come out of non-conforming, this is one of those things I get to divert. Because it had operated so long as being commercial, and because when I read abandoned and vacant, I took that as not having a tenant. So I followed the process and brought it to planning and zoning and city council. Councilmember Marks interpreted that differently, which, once it was explained to me, it turned my wheels a little bit differently. And had I looked at that the first time, I probably would have interpreted that the same way. But that's not how I processed the first time. So this is one of those times where staff is asking for council's guidance.
So according to county and CAD, it's still listed as commercial.
It is. And it has been listed as commercial. It has never been a residential property.
No slinging anything anywhere, so we need to correct the problem.
Well, it's an ag though.
What do you mean it's an ag?
It's ag commercial.
So generally,
Ag commercial?
when we annex something,
Residential, I mean.
Zoning,
Right,
yeah, but it's classified in CAD as commercial.
right.
generally, anytime that we annex something, unless it's specifically listed as an R1 or light manufacturing or highway commercial, specifically when we annex it, it automatically goes into agricultural or residential. So unless someone went out and specifically listed it as something
This a long time
alternative.
ago was added to somebody's ag use, right?
This was annexed in during the initial establishment of the city. So unless someone went out and identified that one parcel as being something different, it wouldn't have been identified as something different at that time.
Boy, ag residential must have been real different then.
It was out in the county. You know how many,
It wasn't-
businesses are operating on ag
Well-
residential land out in the county?
Well, it was the county because we weren't a city.
Right.
So by city, the property is zoned ag residential, but by the CAD, the building is classified as commercial.
Yes.
Correct.
And then within my reach right now, I can't enforce any commercial regulations on it, sitting as a non-conforming commercial building in an ag residential zoning.
I think, I say I don't get a vote. I might get a vote tonight, but,
Already got one?
yeah, I already got one. Council, what my opinion is that in order to be fair to the residents, in order to be fair to the property owner, he didn't ask for the city, you didn't ask for the city to annex you in, did you? Not very many people do. To me, I think what the win-win is to ask him to go back for a zoning change with a conditional use permit. That gives the city the ability to enforce things about noise ordinances and light ordinances. It gives us some teeth to protect our residents. It also requires him to continue operating the way that he has been operating until 6 months ago, so that he can't bring in any type of new business. But it's not kicking the can down the road, because now we're not just turning a blind eye to it. We have black and white that we enforce.
My concern with that, Brandon, is that in 2 years, when he decides he doesn't want to do the building anymore, his conditional use permit is null and void at that point, but the property is now residential commercial.
No, the conditional use permit will always stay with the property, is what Georgia said.
Yes.
So it will
if you-
never be it will never, ever be allowed to be anything other than an office building.
So if he requests a conditional use permit for a multiple tenant office building and it's granted that conditional use permit, then that conditional use permit in neighborhood commercial for that building is going to stay with it for the life of the property until it is requested to be something else.
Be just like what I'm looking at, building commercial. Can we have all that information that we want in the thing, so we don't have to keep doing this? Can we have our, conditions listed?
That'll go through P and Z.
When it goes to P and Z, can we have this so they can make a decision, and then we can make a decision?
So we can't impose special conditions on him that aren't set in the ordinance. So if it's not required in a neighborhood commercial
Well, like a conditional
zone,
use permit, that's what
Right.
I'm talking about. Can we have whatever we're gonna put in that conditional use permit, when he comes back here, if we do what Brandon says, and we come back to P and Z, can we have everything in that? So when they see it, this is what it is. He can do this with these restrictions. Can we do that?
Yeah, it'll have to be.
Huh?
Yeah, it'll have to be. It has to be written out.
That's what I'm
On the
saying.
conditional use permit.
So when they come the next time, we're not doing what they did last week. We're not doing what we're doing right now. Here it is. And then they can make a vote, and then it can come back to council. But it's done. So we're not going through all this. I'd like to get, what the restrictions are gonna be in that conditional use permit.
Well, it's gonna say that he's applying for, and I'm giving the office with multiple tenants because that's what we had discussed after the planning and zoning meeting. So it's going to say that he's applying for a conditional use permit in a zone change in the neighborhood commercial, for a neighborhood commercial zone with a conditional use permit for a multiple tenant office building space. And then that's all it's going to say. The conditions will be everything that is required within a neighborhood commercial zone, which are the screening, the light restrictions, and everything within that.
How
But
about scientific research?
that wouldn't be allowed under
As long as
the,
it's an office space. I mean, if it's office.
What is scientific, I mean,
I don't know, but that's not, I mean, scientific research.
well, we got
that's not what
a
they're-
COVID carrying monkey running around here would be,
I'd be happy to answer how that ended up that way if you want to know. I mean,
No.
that was not what I wanted.
I mean, if it's medical, I get it, but
Georgia, if we decided to go that direction and have him go and ask for a conditional use permit, would you be able to administratively give him a temporary CO that would satisfy his lender requirements so that going back through this process doesn't hold him up?
if council will vote on that and approve it, then yes.
As long as the occupancy is whatever you just said?
Yes.
Office, how do you term it?
Multiple use,
Multi-tenant.
multi-tenant office space.
Multi-tenant office space.
So he's gonna apply for another permit? And we're gonna waive the permit fees on that because we shouldn't be here in the first place?
I agree. I think that's fair.
I'm not trying to be nasty, I'm just, it's not his fault.
Growing pains.
Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. Thank you.
I don't know how to make that motion.
Well, I
To
think,
deny this, you had to vote to deny this, then the zoning change, because he's gonna have to go back through P and Z, so you would, if
We
that's the
have to
case.
vote on something tonight, don't we?
yeah, so we would have to vote to, deny the zone change. And then also, authorize, I don't know, do you need our authorization? Authorize Georgia to issue us a temporary, certificate of occupancy while he's going through the process for the purpose of being a multi-tenant
Tenant
office.
building.
and what will the new zoning be?
It'll be neighborhood commercial with a conditional use permit for multi-tenant office space. Please don't ask me to say it again.
You didn't know you were gonna say it sometimes. I mean, I don't know, council. I mean, to me, that seems the way to keep it the way it's been, and I think that's the only fair way to do it. I mean,
So the conditional use permit stays with that property from now on? Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Unless someone purchases the property from him and comes and requests to do something else with the property, it would stay with that property.
Because that's where, when we discussed conditional use permits, it was Lemon Tree Cottage. The condition was if they ever sold the place, that was null and void.
I do remember that.
There was, I found an issue with that.
Okay. But that's why I ask, is because I recalled that instance.
100% sure
Yes,
that the permit stays with the property, not the owner.
yes.
110,
Ultimately, it's up to y'all, council.
110%.
110.
I just don't know how to make that motion.
I move to deny the rezoning request, but authorize, goodness, this is a hard one, isn't it? Authorize Georgia to give a temporary certificate of occupancy for a multi-tenant office building until
Yeah, until
until it's brought back to P and Z.
PNC, yeah. And then, did we also want to waive the permit?
And also to
fee for
waive the
conditional use permit?
the permit fees.
That's sufficient.
Can we do that one more time? Because I think we just need to make it a little bit more clear than clear as mud. If I think what you're saying is that you are voting to deny today's action, and that you want to give them a temporary
Yes, certificate of occupancy.
certificate of occupancy until the next regularly scheduled
Yes.
P and Z meeting, and that you want to allow the city manager to waive the
Yes.
fees. Okay.
What's that said? No, I move to.
Yeah, no, that's good.
That's
It's
okay.
it's okay.
He said,
I'm
he
done.
said it just like you did.
I know.
It's clear enough.
To a T. I said it.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to deny the rezone from ag residential to neighborhood commercial, but to grant staff the permission to issue a certificate
Occupancy.
occupancy. I'll get with you. I'm not gonna forget you. To grant a temporary certificate of occupancy while it is going through planning and zoning, and to authorize the city manager to authorize the permit fee for or the application fee for the conditional use permit to be waived. Is there any further discussion? Yes, sir. You'll have to come up here and address council. Mr. Carpenter, right? Yeah, okay.
So, I would like to clarify a couple of things that have been mentioned. The property owner said that he ripped down all those trees and all that greenery. If I remember correctly, he said it was because it looked better, was more aesthetically pleasing, and you retorted that people love trees and stuff. Well, right after those got torn down, I got visited by two of his workers at my front door, and they wanted to talk to me about a tree on my property. And so we went back to the property, and the tree was, it's got these vines hanging from it, you know, and it turns out the tree was on Richard Landry's property. And in the discussions with these two workers, they said the property was going to be turned into a lot for RVs or tiny homes. And so I think, I'm just surmising that he jumped the gun and didn't know that Santa Fe was not allowing that anymore. And so now he is going to Plan B. And he's also correct that there is a pond on the property, or there was, because all those trees and brushes that got cut down, guess where they got placed? Into that pond. The pictures that Craig Landry gave you, that big pile of trees on the right, that's where the pond used to be. So now we're even more worried about flooding, so.
It needs a burn permit.
The trees were pushed in the pond?
Yeah, piled up in the pond. And the workers told me that they were gonna burn that huge pile of trees with the fire department out there. But, and Richard Landry can confirm that the workers did say that it was gonna be turned into a little RV lot.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, I know that, but, you know, again, like I said in my opening speech, you know, the dark horse is what actually is gonna end up being here. We don't know.
Well, we will know if it goes through if it goes through planning and zoning with the conditional use permit. Because what that means is if planning and zoning approves that, then it can only be used for that specific use. That's it. Can't be used for anything else under
Stay with the
neighborhood
building.
commercial. It can only ever be an office building for the life of the property unless they come back.
Okay, then my question is, if it does go back to the conditional part, can a condition be that he let at least a part of all that trees and brush grow back up again so that those of us that are behind the property can't see it, and also it can buffer out some of the noise coming from them as well as the truck service?
So the answer to that is yes. And what I really think, Mr. Carpenter, is, you know, there's no perfect scenario, right? We're just trying to get the closest to a perfect scenario. To me, rezoning it as neighborhood commercial with a conditional use permit is a win-win. Because y'all get knowing that it's never gonna be anything other than what it's always been. That's what y'all get, and he gets to operate, and now we get to require what are all the words for? But when it's neighborhood commercial, we are able to enforce lighting ordinances and I can't think of all the terms, but they've got to put up,
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going blank on all of the.
Screening, parking, there's, tree requirements, there's, that ordinance goes over everything, but there's a multitude of things that, once it is rezoned, we have control over saying that they have to do it and it's enforceable. As agricultural residential, more than you need to mow your grass and your house can't be in disrepair, we can't do a whole lot. But as a neighborhood commercial zone, we do have further enforcement reach.
So it gives us the ability to enforce all of your concerns and pigeonholing him into just having it for that specific purpose.
Right. So again, I can request, or the neighbors in general behind him can request that he allow at least a portion of that greenery to grow back up again?
We can enforce the ordinance
You can.
that she just said.
Okay.
What's in there can be enforced, will be enforced, but we cannot impose regulations on him that are specific only to him that would not be imposed on someone else. So if you wanted to cut down a tree on your property, I can't tell him that he has to make trees grow on his property and tell you that you can bring your entire property down to ground level grade. If it's not gonna be enforceable on one, then, or even Mr. Landry's property. So if the two of you have the same type of property, I can't impose rules on one like an HOA would and then not impose it on the other. So the rules that are listed there are the ones that we can impose, but I cannot impose special regulations on him by law just because he's at that particular property and it would be more appeasing to the neighbors.
And we can't pick on anyone. We have to be fair.
Well, but it's commercial. It's gonna be commercial.
And I can impose the rules that are there, but I can't impose special rules on him that are outside of that just because it's more appeasing to the surrounding neighbors in that particular area.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is this for me or?
Yes, you can do
All right,
that.
thank you.
All right, council, any other comments? If not, then Natalie, I will call for the vote.
Councilmember Schrader,
Yes.
Councilmember McCamey, Councilmember Jeanette,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Motion fails. Thank you, council. All right, item number 4, public hearing. And don't feel like y'all have to stay here. You're more than welcome to, but I know it's late. Item number 4, public hearing ZC-031626, request to change zoning classification at 6525 FM 646 South, Santa Fe, Texas, legally described as Abstract 48, L. Crawford, survey, part of Outlot 196, 196-10, Altaloma Outlots, from ag residential to neighborhood commercial. It is 8:20, now open up the public hearing public hearing time. If there's anybody that would like to address council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to address you again.
Long time no see.
The property located at 6525 FM 646 has requested to rezone the property from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial. In 2024, a permit for construction of a residential storage building with electrical service was issued, and that was completed in July of 2024. In February of 2026, an anonymous code enforcement complaint was filed regarding the noise that was being emitted from the property's commercial operation as an instructional facility for baseball or softball activities, specifically batting instruction. The fire marshal investigated the complaint and made contact with the property owner, shortly after which prompted a meeting with the Community Services Department to discuss the use restrictions of the agricultural residential zone. During this meeting, Mrs. Reyna filed an application to rezone the property from agricultural residential to neighborhood commercial, which would allow for other schools and instruction as a use by right. Currently, the operation is utilizing a crushed asphalt parking lot and a porta-can, which would be required to be addressed at a later planning and zoning meeting should the request to rezone be granted by planning and zoning and city council. Exceptions to corridor development standards and operational standards were not voted on during the agenda item during the planning and zoning commission meeting. During the planning and zoning commission meeting, a motion by Commissioner Mills and seconded by Vice Chairperson Wagner McGee was voted to approve the rezone, and it was passed unanimously.
All right, do we have anyone that would like to address council during the public hearing period? Good evening, if you'll just state your name.
Kelly Rayner.
Well, when you get up there, I'll take one of them, yeah.
I thought Andrew voted against it.
I don't know. Georgia, this was passed unanimously?
Yes.
Okay, you're 100% sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for your time.
Just state your name, please.
My name's Kelly Rayner.
Thank you.
I'm the property owner at 6525 FM 646. I'm here regarding our facility and the rezoning process. We want to start out by saying that we respect the city's regulations and fully understand the importance of bringing the property into compliance. Our goal is to do this the right way and work together with the city throughout the process. We are requesting neighborhood commercial zoning because our use is low impact and consistent with other neighborhood commercial properties along this corridor. Based on the city zoning map and surrounding properties, there are already multiple neighborhood commercial properties along the same roadway. We are simply asking to be consistent with what already exists. Our actual use is low traffic, scheduled, and community-based, which aligns more closely with neighborhood commercial than highway commercial. We also want to be transparent about the challenges we're facing. As a small community-based baseball facility, the cost of bringing everything into full compliance all at once creates a significant barrier. Because of that, we are respectfully asking the board to consider a phased approach to compliance, allowing us to address the most critical items first and then complete the remaining requirements over a reasonable period of time. We also understand the concerns that have been raised by the neighbors. We want to be clear that we are committed to being good neighbors. We are willing to spread out our scheduling, limit the number of participants at any given time, and put a clear parking plan in place to reduce any impact on the surrounding area. This is not an expansion into a larger or different type of operation. This is a small business, a small baseball training facility focused on local kids. If possible, we would like to ask the board to consider allowing limited or modified operations while we work through the compliance process. Even a restricted level of use would allow us to continue serving families while making the necessary improvements. This facility means a great deal to the kids and families in our community. We are simply asking for a reasonable path forward that allows us to comply while still keeping something positive and valuable in place for them. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
I would like to mention, just to give you a little bit of insight on some of the teams that we have. We do have 6 baseball players and 5 softball players that are current players at Santa Fe High School. We have 25 plus athletes that are Santa Fe residents. Our coaches are local coaches, many who are teachers. Actually, 6 out of the 7 of our coaches are teachers within the community. Our athletes are being mentored, and actually some of our older athletes, like our high school players, will go and attend some of our 10-year-old practices. And so I think it's a really great opportunity for them to learn the leadership skills and mentorship skills. Just to give you a little bit of insight, we are private, appointment-based only. It's one-on-one instruction in small groups from 3 to 12 participants at a time. We do not have open gyms, we do not hold any large events, and we primarily serve local athletes. Our sessions are scheduled with 15-minute intervals to minimize overlap, and we limit traffic due to controlled scheduling. Our peak hours are from 3 to 9, and we have limited weekend use. We do have on-site parking. We've never ran over into street parking, and we do have 2 driveways that access the property. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions for Kelly?
We can't ask questions right now, right?
We can ask questions. Or I guess it's the public hearing.
It's the
I guess,
public
yeah.
hearing.
Is
The next
there
section.
anybody else that's here to speak in the public hearing? Sorry, Kelly. You'll be back though. Be ready.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm afraid of that.
No.
Daniel Meyer. I live directly in front of the property. The issue that
Across 646?
1930, yeah, directly in front of. The issue is the noise primarily. The traffic as well. We've lived there for 5 years and it was quite peaceful before, and whenever I get off work is whenever everything starts up. So the noise comes in, and even since the last meeting, they've opened up the doors and have started hitting again, and it's been loud.
They've been occupying the building?
Yes, they've been there. Not as many as there was before, absolutely not near as many, but they have been there, and the doors are open, and the other thing is there is insulation on it, but that insulation is for radiant heat. The doors are not insulated, and even if they were, they're always open. So when it's cold, it's closed. Whenever it's warm, it's always open. And the two doors directly aim at my house, so every time you hear a ping, we can hear it inside the house. And then when I try to relax out in the back, it just echoes everywhere. And so the only thing I'm worried about is with the transparency coming about whenever the anonymous complaint came in, which was not me, surprisingly, and it's still occupying, which I think the last time it was stated that they were not supposed to be using it. And so I think the only thing that I'm worried about is the respect of being able to adhere to the laws and the order to be able to bring the noise down, to come into compliance. I'm all for the neighborhood commercial because, as y'all were speaking before, that does create constraints to be able to allow laws and ordinances, and I'm all for that. I'm actually, as y'all were speaking, it's like, okay, this is a really good thing. I just don't know how it's going to be respected along the process and the grace period, because I feel like the grace period has been the 1.5 years that they've been operating. So that's kind of where I'm standing. And I've tried talking to them. I did the neighborly thing, do unto your neighbors as you want to be done unto, and speak to them about the noise. And again, for about a month or two, it did quieten down, but then it just got loud. I don't know if anybody's heard aluminum bats, but they are incredibly loud. I did not know they were that loud. So that is my main concern, is that process. Again, we can the neighborhood commercial sounds amazing. It's just the sounds that are going on. And then the traffic in and out, yes, it did increase. They did stop where people were sitting on the road before they would come in. They did do better on that. But by the time I get home, by the time we go to bed, we're hearing pinging a lot. And so that's one of my major concerns, is addressing the quietening of the building if they're going to operate, and if they can close the doors and keep everything inside. But operating while still doing the ordinances seems like another issue, due to if they're not adhering to certain ordinances, does that open up the city to liability on a lawsuit if somebody gets hurt while it's not up to code and ordinances? That's another concern. So it's just, that is my main thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak during the public hearing time? All right, it is 8:31. I'm going to close the public hearing. Item number 5, consideration and possible action, request to change zoning classification, 6525 FM 646 South, Santa Fe, Texas, legally described as Abstract 48 L. Crawford, survey part of Outlot 196, 196-10, Altaloma outlots from ag residential to neighborhood commercial. Council, this is an email from Georgia to Ms. Reyna on March 17th, 2026. It says, "Good evening, Mrs. Reyna. I apologize that I was unable to attend the meeting with you last week, but from the updates I've received, it appears that the meeting went well. There is sufficient progress in an attempt to remedy the current zoning use issue. In the event that it was not addressed during the meeting, please let this serve as formal notice that current operations must cease until the rezone request process has been completed. Continued operations of a business in an ag residential zone are considered a violation of the zoning ordinance and may result in a $2,000 per day fine for each day that violation occurs. We understand that this poses an inconvenience. However, it is necessary for compliance. Thank you for your cooperation. Kind regards, Georgia Argentine Community Services Director, City of Santa Fe."
What's the date on that?
That is Tuesday, March 17th. council any questions?
I have some questions for Ms. Reyna.
Okay.
So, in our paperwork, it says that the original request to build, the permits you pulled were for a storage facility.
Correct.
Not a commercial storage facility, but a person. How long have you been operating the batting cages?
We've been operating for about a year.
Okay, and how long while operating the batting cages were you permitted for a batting cage?
We were not.
Okay, so you were illegally running a business.
So my husband has been coaching for 20 years, and I
understand.
I'm just explaining. I don't know. I have learned more in the past 3 weeks about zoning and residential and commercial than I have my entire life, and I'm being completely honest with you. I did not and still do not 100% understand all of it. My husband has been a coach and he's been doing private lessons for 20 years. So I didn't see anything different from what we've been doing out of our home in our backyard than a different property that's in a different name. I did not understand that we couldn't use it. As far as I knew, we could use it as a home occupancy, as a self-employment, and so that is what we've done. I did not know until this noise complaint came across that there were issues with the building.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I understand where you're coming from on that. So whenever you filled out the application and you filled it out as being a residential storage building, was that the intent?
Yes.
For it to just be residential?
Yes, we still plan to, or our intent is to build a home on the property, on the backside of the property. And when I discussed it, when this was all brought up, my biggest concern was that if we did turn it to commercial, we wouldn't be able to, and I discussed that. Georgia was not here, but I discussed it with Belinda, which then she told me if you changed it to neighborhood commercial, you would still be able to build a home. So this building was just basically a storage building for a lot of the things, a lot of our equipment for our teams when we first built it.
Are y'all operating out of the building?
We are not operating, but I was under the impression that we as a family could still use it, and so my son and my nephew, who I just told you are current players at Santa Fe High School and trying to make the playoffs, go in there almost daily. And I understand, I wish I wasn't here today. And I wish that we could have a win-win for everyone. But I do feel like when you're talking about noise, that's very subjective. So if you go to church and you're sitting in church and there's a baby crying, and you are just happy that the baby's there, but someone else says, that baby shouldn't be in here, those parents need to take that baby out. Who's to say who's right or wrong? One opinion may say, that baby should stay in here because we want that baby to grow up in this church. And somebody else may say, well, that's annoying to me. I fall asleep to the sounds of baseball pings. I have for 20 years. It's the best noise in the world to me.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
My issue is not with the noise. My issue is the fact that you guys were operating a business without the proper permitting and without the correct certificate of occupancy. That is a huge deal. That is legally a huge deal.
That's why I'm here today.
I understand, but I mean, you've been running it, and it just doesn't sit right with me that it's been going on, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me like the only reason you're here now is because you got caught, and that you have to do it now. I'm not saying that's just the way, the perception of it is that you would have continued doing it, running a business on a residential piece of property without any kind of restrictions that a business would have, and you were doing it until you were told that, hey, you can't do it anymore, or you weren't supposed to be doing it in the first place. That is my whole issue with this whole thing. I think it's a great idea to have a batting cage. I think it's a great idea for that piece of property to be commercial, because it does run on, it is right on 646. But no business should be there until all the, in my opinion, all the codes are in compliance. There should be no grace period. It should be all or nothing. Because we can get in, can we get in trouble for a grace period for letting them occupy it as a temporary business, Georgia?
We cannot get in trouble.
Okay.
Um,
Well, her as a resident or as the owner of the property, could they?
She could, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I think we just have to be careful, right? You know, about, you know, what kind of precedents.
And I'm the same as you. The noise would not bother me at all. So I'm just.
Let's say that, and again, remember from the first time, I like to think out loud, right? So don't read into it, but I'm an Aggie, it's hard to think anyways, and so I try to do it out loud. And that way, if I get too far off the tracks, you know, somebody will pull me back on, but.
He's never been on the drags.
Well, there's always hope, there's always hope. So Georgia, is there anything legally preventing them from utilizing this building personally?
Personally, no. But we skirt a very thin line between,
And what does personally mean?
we skirt
Right.
a very thin line between whether it's.
And what if they just operate, say, oh, we're not a business, we're just operating off of donations, and we have a suggested donation for a 15-minute session, right?
And
Friends and family.
it kind of goes back to the other situation. My definition of one thing could be different of your definition of one thing. So Natalie and I could be friends over practicing together, and then if I take you with us, that could be viewed as something different. It could now be a completely different operation.
Right.
So it really.
The guide fishermen deal with it every weekend. Oh, no, these are just my buddies that I brought out on a fishing trip.
Right.
You know, because they're not licensed by the Coast Guard. What would be, what would they have to do to come into full compliance?
They're going to need restrooms. They're going to need restrooms. They're going to need to come into full fire code compliance, so exit signs. Manny, please let me know if I'm missing anything. They're gonna need fire lanes. We're gonna need to have, caught me off the top of my head.
That's okay, just hit the big ones. I mean, I'm not holding you to it. but
Restrooms.
What are they gonna have to do? Are they gonna have to pave the parking lot?
The paving of the parking lot is subjective to planning and zoning. That is something that we've given exceptions, or not we, that planning and zoning has given exceptions in other areas for. But they are gonna have to speak with DD1 about whether their drainage is sufficient in that area for what they've got, but the restrooms and the fire compliance is the biggest thing.
So in order to get a CO, they're gonna have to have an approved drainage plan.
They are gonna have to have.
From the drainage district. Did
Right.
y'all perform any drainage?
We have a swell on the property, but we've never done measurements.
Gotcha.
And
They'll
then-
build the building on the property?
Yes, sir.
Didn't they have to go before DD1 before they did that?
No, not for a residential property, you do not have to. And then they'll also have to have the screening because it does butt up against residential properties.
Well, see, this is what I was asking the last deal. So if she gets this rezoned, this building will have to meet DD1 standards then.
Yes. Because they are going to have additions.
Right.
Immediately, they will have to put restrooms in. The way that the building is laid out, it does not have room to immediately put restrooms in because plumbing was not laid in that foundation at the time it was built.
You're gonna have to
So
add
an
on.
addition is going to have to go in, which is immediately going to trigger having to go to DD1 for review. The other building already has established parking, restrooms, so on and so forth.
So we are on, the way our property sits, we are considered city limits, but we do not have city water. So just to.
Nobody has city water.
Yeah.
Well, we'd be on well and septic is what I'm saying.
Right.
So that alone is gonna be just just the well and septic is gonna be 25 grand plus. So we are sitting on like a financial, major financial upgrades. And so that is why I'm asking for a phased.
Have you priced the fire, being in code with fire?
I believe that our building is
Well, like
mostly,
the exits or whatever.
right, I believe it's mostly up to code. I think that those would be minor adjustments.
Your major thing is gonna be the restroom, the 25 grand for,
And then, yes,
water.
and then depending what the drainage report is.
Kelly, I love what y'all brought to Santa Fe. I think it's great. I think it's family entertainment, I guess you could say, but it's, kids aren't having to go to DBAT and Webster.
Yes.
They can stay here in Santa Fe. I love it. My problem is, just like with I think a couple of the other council members, is the way that it happened. I wish, gosh, if I had 3 wishes, Kelly, I'd burn one of them to say that I wish that you would have came up to the city and said, hey, guys, we know when we originally applied for this, it was just gonna be a storage building, but now we're gonna be doing some private lessons out of it. We just wanna make sure that there's not anything that we need to do before we do that. I wish that way, and I know you do too.
I was gonna say, if I had one wish, it was that I would have known all those things before, and I know I can stand up here, I've watched the previous one, and I can stand up here and tell you all day long what I'm going to do, and it's basically, you have to take my word for it.
Right.
I am a rule follower, and so we do plan on doing whatever we have to do as long as we can financially afford it, to come up to compliance and do what we're supposed to do. So we're not here to fight this, we're here to get on board and make sure that all those guidelines that I was not aware of before, I'm aware of now.
Yeah.
And this is our first business, this is the first property that we've ever bought that was just property. And I can truly, honestly tell you that I did not understand any of this until about a month ago.
Yeah, no, I believe all that, absolutely, 100%. I think what my concern is being careful of what kind of precedents we set, because, if I wanted to buy a piece of land and start a business, and I came up here to Georgia and I said, hey, Georgia, I want to start a batting facility business with a metal building. And what I'd like to ask is that y'all would consider letting me piecemeal it together, but go ahead and give me a CO to operate. Her answer would be,
Hopefully, yes.
no.
No.
Her answer would be no, we don't allow that. And so what I think we have to be careful of doing is putting the message out there that, hey, if you just plead ignorance and say you're sorry, that they'll let you piecemeal stuff together, It's a tough situation. I mean, I hate for you to have to be the one, and I don't know how council's gonna vote on this. I'm just talking me and you,
Well, we're not gonna make that decision tonight, right? This is just to rezone the property?
Correct.
Well, this is just to rezone the property, yeah. But
The last page.
I think it is, we have to give Georgia some kind of direction on whether we're gonna allow Georgia to give them a temporary CO
That's it.
as they build this out or not. Because, I mean, that we've got, she brought that to us to make that decision. So I don't think that there's anybody on here that's against rezoning it. Now we've gotta figure out, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stick to the rules, or are we gonna grant some type of exemption?
I have a question. So just as I was looking for resources to help us come into compliance, knowing that we're fixing to be faced with very large expenses, I did find some information on the BEAR program here in Santa Fe. And so I was kind of looking into that, thinking that maybe possibly, potentially we could apply for it. And the one thing that I noticed that stood out to me was that you cannot move forward with anything until you're approved for that. And from what I understand from the EDC, that could be October before they even review applications or have the, I guess, budgeting for that. So that's another reason that I'm kind of asking for a phased compliance, and maybe that we meet safety regulations for the building right away, but then also have some time to come up with the finances to get septic and well and things like that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, that's, the BEAR program is a program of the EDC. We don't make that decision. You know, I think on the surface we don't make that decision. So I'm not gonna speak for the BEAR program and what they're gonna do or not gonna do, but I certainly think that that's an option that you should explore, you know.
And is it possible to get, and I don't understand these 100%, but the temporary occupancy or the conditional occupancy, is it likely to be able to get something like that?
That's what we're fixing to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think life safety issues are off the table, right? So whatever the fire marshal deems is necessary for life safety, I think that has to be done immediately. And then council, it's up to council's discretion on what they want to do with the rest of it.
I think that the deficiencies are so spread out that it's going to be too difficult to do a tiered or like give a temporary certificate of occupancy because there's so many deficits in different levels. So there's the fire deficit, there's the water, sewer, there's, the building itself. So I just don't know how that could.
Where's the fire deficit?
So we do.
The signs and everything, the signs.
Fire extinguisher,
Yeah.
probably. I don't know how big it, does it have to have a fire suppression system in it?
It's not big
No.
enough for that.
Okay.
Well, that's good, because that's a lot of money.
That is.
And so we have parking, as Georgia said, it's compacted asphalt, so we do have parking, we do have drainage as well. And right now we are using a porta potty, so we do have things on the property. I understand that doesn't mean that they're in compliance, but just letting you know that we do have those things.
I think their biggest hurdle right now is that right there.
The water and stuff.
I think economics is the biggest hurdle.
It is. It's a make or break.
The issue that I have, again, when I go back, and I wish we weren't here. But the issue that I have is that if we tell you that you can operate conditionally while you're making the money, getting the revenue to put in a septic, is that something we're gonna offer every other business that comes to Santa Fe? Say you can have porta cans outside your building and we'll let you operate as a business until you make enough money to tie into the water or put in the septic.
I believe that the major complaint from the neighbor is when we have a team there. And so, as I said before, my husband's been doing one-on-one lessons for 20 years in our backyard. And we live 10 foot from our neighbors. Never had a complaint, ever. So I guess my question to you is, and I don't know if it's temporary or conditional, but is it a possibility that even if we can't bring a team in right now, that we can still continue to do the individual lesson?
Yeah, I don't know. That's certainly something to consider. But again, at least what I think the responsibility of council is we have to think about the big picture, right? So if somebody wanted to build a restaurant and they didn't have the money to tie into the water, would we be willing to tell them, well, you can only service 25 customers a day until you get water and sewer? Like in a pre-development meeting. We wouldn't tell them that. We'd tell them, you've got to put in water and sewer. So, I'm just saying, we just have to be careful when we make exceptions, I think. Not saying one way or another.
We can't monitor every business in town.
No, we can't. Somebody's alarm clock's going off.
Come on, Tony.
Y'all have any other questions for Kelly? I don't want to make her just stand there. Okay, thank you.
Oh, Tony.
It's off. Please don't make me have to rule you out of order.
What are our options then?
Well, our options are that we can either approve the rezone or deny the rezone. I think that's an easy decision. What our options are is whether we're gonna allow Georgia to issue a temporary CO or not while it's coming up to compliance. And if we are, then what we would require that to look like.
Well, it sounds to me like the complaint is noise level.
Well,
Matt, have we gone out there and got a decibel level of a aluminum bat?
Rezoning will fix some of that because they'll have to comply with screening.
I'm talking about up until they
Temporary
get it.
CO.
Oh, gotcha,
Conditions for that.
gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, how many,
And the deal is, I mean, they're still gonna continue to use it
I know,
Do you have the video?
privately, you know,
they can do it
personally.
as their family.
Right.
Family and, I guess, friends.
Yeah.
The problem is gonna be when those friends
Excuse me.
are on the team that were,
And the friends bring more friends.
you
So
know.
one of the
but
things that.
I can understand the family and friends, but I just wanna know, you know, if we're gonna allow them to be out of compliance, I mean, how bad out of
My
compliance and how
opinion,
long?
my opinion is that if they're out of compliance, they can't operate.
They're pulling up the video real quick.
I mean, I've heard.
What's in the video?
I mean, I just want a level.
What it sounds like from their back porch, so that you can understand.
But it's hard to see on video, I mean,
Yeah, you
volume
don't
is
see, you
not
hear
the
it.
same.
You can hear it.
That's baseball, that's kids. I'm not hating on that.
But, so,
I would just wanna know what the
With the-
decibel level, the average decibel level of a hit.
with the doors
On a hit
open,
ball.
and it was one of the things that was discussed
I
in
bet
the
it was
P&Z
louder.
meeting,
Yeah,
with the
that's a
doors
lot
My wife
open.
is, she's currently looking for it. I think the main thing is if we can get that under control, that's my biggest issue. Everything else is perfectly fine. It's just, I think that's why I was wanting to come, is just to address that main issue, which is the sound. And I do not want to, no pity or anything, but being on the autism spectrum, it does cause noise sensitivity, which again, get over it. I get it. I really wish I could.
No.
In Jesus' name, I pray about it all the time, seriously. And
He's a healer.
And he is. And you know what's amazing is whenever all this was going on for the last 2 weeks, I was like, you know what, in the name of Jesus, bless them and guide them, because he says to pray for your other side. And so I prayed, and then this all came about. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, so you're working and moving, because I even prayed, God, please take this sensitivity away. I don't want to be that way, because they are helping kids. They're working with kids. I get that. I understand that. The difference is, Jesus said, you've been given freely, so give freely. There's a charge going on. There's a difference. When I work with youth, I work with them for free. There's a difference. So when you charge, there comes a certain responsibility that goes with it. And that's what I'm really concerned with, because I've got the noise, the noise from the highway. I've even got a carpentry shop over there. I don't hear anything from over there. It's when they open the doors and it comes straight my way, and the blatant disrespect when they just open the doors, because they have two other doors that they could open up, but they open the two on my side. And that's where I'm kind of like, okay, Lord, this is really pushing the limits here. So that's what my main concern is. And again, I'm not coming up here asking, sound like a whiny little baby, but it does. It's really loud. Were you able to find that video? Okay. So that's the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So council, it will be addressed if it is rezoned to neighborhood commercial for what the decibel, we don't have a decibel reading as staff up here. You know, a video can provide insight, but it's not a 100% accurate purview of what that sound is without the true decibel reading. But with changing the zoning, it will give us the teeth, if you will, to enforce our guidelines for sound, but for what we need is for Georgia is if she can have a temporary CO or not for this project, or for this business.
And a CO, part of that CO is a number, right? Isn't it?
The temporary CO allows me to give 90 days.
No, I'm talking about the number of occupancy that can be in that building at any given time.
Yes. And that's through the fire marshal.
But the temporary is only good for 90 days. Then they would have to apply for another one for an extension.
Yeah, that's gonna take longer than 90 days.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's gonna take you to get into full compliance?
Take the drainage thing,
Kelly.
take them.
I was hoping for at least 12 months.
That's got 12 to 18.
That would just be an administrative deal, though. If she were to get a temporary, she just has to come up here every 90 days and get it from you. Doesn't have to come back before council.
So the way that both of these items were presented were not a first reading of an ordinance to change, because both of the items that council was presented with were quite controversial and we're going to need some type of adjustment for operation. So this is an oversight item to decide if we were going to go to a first reading of an ordinance. So once it comes before council, council has 12 months with this item to decide whether the zoning changes or not. So if we were to be granted the option to issue the temporary CO and see what the progress is made within that 90 days before you issued the first reading of an ordinance, then it may give you a better idea of where they're gonna sit at with compliance.
Kelly, if you had one kid for every coach, how many coaches are there at the same time?
At the same time,
How many, what's your capacity? How many kids?
No more than 3 coaches at a time.
So 3 coaches and 3 kids.
Correct.
Of course, there's gonna have to be some parents there.
Correct.
And maybe you or your husband. Council, I mean, I think we would have every right to deny this and say you have to come into full compliance. You're using it for different than what you said you were doing it, and maybe you knew, maybe you didn't know, but you gotta make it right.
I do want to just mention.
Yes.
So we moved to Santa Fe for one reason, my husband and I, and that was for baseball and softball, because Santa Fe is known for baseball and softball. We started this in 2020 when COVID hit, and my husband had some extra time on his hands, and so he started a team. And we went to Jack Brooks, and we went to the Santa Fe Little League, and we had a handshake, and they agreed that if we went out to Jack Brooks Park and we cleaned up the park, we could utilize that field, and so we did. Once it was clean and in good shape, and we had put all the time and all the work into it and all the money to get it up to par, a bigger organization moved in and took over, and we were booted out. So we went to Behringer. We reached out to Santa Fe ISD. We asked them if we could rent out Behringer. We were granted access to rent out Behringer, and went good for a little while until Behringer decided to, or the school decided to put it up for auction, and we were no longer able to practice on it. So now we have a building, and again, we're up against another fight. So, we're trying to stay here in Santa Fe, and we're very passionate about what we do. My daughter played at McNeese State University. She's now a teacher here at Santa Fe. Her coach that coached her at a D1 level softball came back with her, and she is now a teacher at Santa Fe High School. My son, who played college baseball at University of Arkansas Monticello, he's here in the community and he's given back to these kids. So I understand rules and I understand regulations, but also we are putting everything that they have learned into these kids becoming leaders, into these kids that are struggling with the things, and this is their platform, so that one day they'll have the confidence to sit where you're sitting. So I understand the regulations and I understand the compliances, but also there still has to be a little bit of humanity left as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you, what do y'all got, jugs machine in there or live pitch?
Gosh, Rusty, that don't matter.
Yeah, it does for the sound, because this is what I'm going for. When I played ball, I played high school baseball. When we had to practice in the gym and stuff, we used a cloth ball. I mean, is that any type of?
So there are, and my husband could speak better on it, but there are balls that are not solid baseballs.
Correct.
That can be used, yes. But as you can imagine, if you're a
I know it's not
high
gonna be the
school
same thing.
baseball player.
I'm just looking for
right.
some type of happy median here.
Well, the
Counsel,
other thing that I was gonna say is thank you, Kelly, you don't have to sit here. The other thing that I was gonna say, council, is, you know, if y'all are considering some type of temporary or conditional occupancy, certificate of occupancy, that, you know, it'd be limited to, you know, 10, 12, you know, something like that.
So what is the pulse from council if we were to deny the temporary occupancy and allow them to use Behringer with an agreement like the Little League has?
They'd have to move that porta can to Behringer because we don't have bathrooms out there.
But it's not a commercial property, right? I mean, they used it without restrooms when the district had it. That's why I'm asking.
I don't believe that Behringer still has, I mean,
I don't think the lighting works anymore.
it would take
You wouldn't, yeah.
work and money to get Behringer back up to par.
We know.
We actually were putting a bid in on Behringer, but we didn't have the $30,000 to put down. So we planned on putting a bid in for it, and we planned on keeping it baseball, but unfortunately, we weren't able to follow through.
I did, just loud enough.
I want to hear this group of champs.
Council?
And I know what she's talking about. She don't know all the rules. I had to go through nightmares to get on Medicare. I mean, there's some things you just don't know until you have to get thrown into the again.
That's true. But at some point in time, she knew that they were gonna be using it for
As a
what they
business.
didn't apply for. And I innocently didn't think that it made that big of a deal. I mean, I don't think she did anything, you know, on
Big
purpose.
knucklehead back there in the back.
The big knucklehead back there in the back. You have to come to the podium and state your name, your address.
Council, my name's
Social
Tony
Security
Dolphin.
number. You have to come to the front here and state your name. Address.
Ben just making all that noise back there while ago.
My address is not public record, but I am a city. I live in the city limits. Just, could it, and all I wanted to do is make a suggestion, could we not come up with a temporary TCO that has stated benchmarks? You have to meet this, this, or this, and if there's any complaints from any citizens or they're not meeting those benchmarks, then at that point in time, the temporary TCO is null and void, it goes away, and then she can't open back up until she has to come in full compliance. Life safety issues would have to be addressed immediately before you would give a TCO. I think, I've been in the building,
because I had to go visit it New Year's morning when I was playing police officer. So I know it's not too far from becoming.
So you're
in
the
compliance.
anonymous reporter.
No, we arrested the guy that was running around with tools threatening to kill people. I chased him a block away. He was in the county, so the county had to arrest him. But then it would allow both council and staff to set dead benchmarks that would have to be met before you went any further.
But that goes back to the setting precedents for future.
It's not the first time we've done it.
That's my favorite thing.
I'm just saying.
We've been doing it that way for years.
Some things are pretty easy for a bathroom. You can put temporary bathrooms. She wasn't have to jackhammer the slab. With a metal building, there's options of putting through-wall toilets and things like that, so you can actually add a bathroom without adding on. There's some other things that could be worked out between them and the building department to meet those regulations. Only thing I was giving you is maybe a suggestion on something to think about, other than either just saying no or just saying yes. It would allow council to set benchmarks. That was my only comment.
Thank you.
I agree.
Guess we could put it in the libation.
Good old Rusty.
Hey, about the only thing that, well,
Georgia, let me ask you this. If they had done this the correct way from the beginning, would they have had to pay additional permit fees than what they had to pay already?
Yes, it would have had to have been rezoned from the very beginning, and it would have been assessed with the commercial fees. However, at that time, the commercial fees were much less than what our current fees are. The rezone was $250, and I can't, off the top of my head, tell you
Well,
what our commercial.
she's gonna have to, they would have to pay the current rezone fee.
Right,
anyway.
and they did,
And they already have.
yes.
But then you would be able to calculate what those fees were that they did not have to pay. You'd be able to figure that out, right? Say, had y'all done it the right way, it would have been X dollars amount more than,
But they're gonna have to pay those fees now as they do the upgrades anyway, right?
if they're required to, yeah.
They will have to come into compliance.
has anybody talked to Cheryl Johnson? On what
Rusty.
this is gonna change? I mean, this is gonna be another cost to them when this thing goes from residential to commercial. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying, there's another cost coming.
We haven't.
And what if it doesn't happen any?
Yeah, we haven't alerted the tax office yet. It hadn't been changed yet, but when it does change, you will be taxed at a different rate as a commercial business.
Well, council, it's up to y'all. It's a hard decision.
It is a hard decision.
Not really. So we need to make a motion to rezone and then with stipulations for temporary.
Well, can we move to change the zoning? Or does that have to go to P and Z?
No, you'll move to
already-
change
It's
the
already-
zoning, and then at the next meeting,
Oh.
we'll move forward.
Oh, I'm sorry, P and Z approved this one.
Yes.
Okay.
P and Z approved for this to go neighborhood commercial. Correct.
Yeah.
But it's the rest of the deal that we're.
The rest of the
dealing
deal is what direction are we gonna give Georgia?
Correct.
Whether, are
Yeah.
they gonna have to wait till they come into full compliance? Or are we gonna allow some type of conditional, or I guess you call it temporary certificate of occupancy?
If we pursue the temporary occupancy, it would be my request that the Reynas work with Manny and Georgia to identify what's gonna need to be done to meet a permanent certificate of occupancy. And then I would like for the Reynas to put together a plan on how they're gonna accomplish this over a time frame. We're gonna have this done in 90 days, this done in 120, whatever that looks like, and present that to us before we approve a temporary occupancy. I mean, I feel like if we just approve a temporary for 90 days, we're just throwing a blank 3 months out there. We don't know what's gonna happen at the end. But I need to know they have a plan on how we're gonna move forward with this, and not just come ask for an extension every 90 days.
Well, and what they're gonna have to figure out too then is what the order of importance is.
Right.
Are bathrooms more important than screening?
Well, and that'll also give us a chance to take it back to P and Z. Let them request variances on whatever items they think they're going to need variances on. So if they're going to need a variance on restrooms for X amount of time, or a variance on the parking lot for the crushed asphalt versus concrete parking lot, and P and Z approves that, then that'll also set an order of importance.
Yeah. Gosh, man, this is just tough. I know you say not really, but what about the next business that comes before us and wants a temporary one because they didn't know the rules? And then the next one, and then the next one.
My question is, how many of them out there are there now?
How many are using their garages to train already? And
So Georgia,
how many
if-
tutors are using
Do you
their
have any
living,
businesses
how many
operating
tutors are
from their
using
houses
their
right
living
now?
rooms to tutor kids and
Ms.
piano
Collins,
lessons and.
do you know how many businesses are operating out of their houses right now? Ain't no way to ever find that out, is it? And somebody's coming up here admitted that they didn't understand the laws and the rules, and we're gonna punish them, but I guarantee there's hundreds of people in business.
We're not punishing.
And
We're
you
not
are.
punishing.
You are.
It's not
It's
punishment.
not
You're not gonna allow her to continue to run a business and develop those kids,
requiring them to follow the ordinances is not a punishment, Bubba.
but you're gonna stop them from doing anything until,
Trying to find a way around that.
that's what I'm talking about, and the way it sounds, nobody's trying to, any way around it. So if we make a motion to change it from agriculture resident, to commercial, then what do we need to do? To grant the temporary,
Well, at this point in time, Georgia's not legally allowed to grant a CO until they come into full compliance. So if if we want her to do that, then
if they come in complete compliance, why do you need to honor a temporary?
right, that's what I'm saying.
The temporary would allow
12,
them to go.
18.
They can't operate legally right now until they come into compliance to get a certificate of occupancy because they don't have it. And so in order for them to continue operation right now, we would have to grant them a temporary CO and give them basically metrics that they have to meet a timeline. Like say you gotta have bathrooms installed by 6 months, you gotta have, immediate health safety tomorrow. You have to have a timeline if we're gonna allow that, because right now, they're not allowed to operate in the city limits.
Does that have to go before planning and zoning? Like, I feel like we're having a planning and zoning conversation right now.
So that's what I was referring to with, they do need to come in and meet with Manny and I once council makes their decision here before our next city council meeting, before we do a first reading of an ordinance to do the rezone. We'll have a planning and zoning meeting. During that planning and zoning meeting, we have to request whatever variances they're going to request from planning and zoning under those neighborhood commercial development standards. So one of the ones that we have already identified that they're going to request is for a crushed asphalt parking lot versus a concrete parking lot. Another one of the ones that we looked at was the required parking spaces for the type of instructional facility that they have. Realistically, they don't need 84 parking spaces like our parking matrix says that they do.
So what we're doing tonight is not the final deal. It's gotta come back before us for a reading,
Yes,
for 2 readings.
yes.
Well, and council, I mean, if y'all have the appetite to allow some type of temporary gradual compliance, then I think we pass this and with the direction to staff to work with the property owners and staff work together on a plan to come in compliance within 12 months.
So, Georgia, can we give them a 30-day certificate and within that 30 days, they have opportunity to meet with planning and zoning. They have opportunity first with staff to identify what they're gonna need to do to come into compliance. Then they have the opportunity to meet with planning and zoning and discuss any variances that'll be required, and then it's coming back to us. And at that point, we can determine whether or not we wanna issue a 90-day certificate and let them move on or not. Is that an option? Is that?
I think they need to come into compliance with life safety immediately before they get a TCO.
Well, that'll be a condition of the 30-day, right?
So they could open tomorrow.
They still have to go with
No,
board planning
they
and
have
zoning.
to go through planning and zoning. They're gonna have to get the approval from them to get the TCO before we can do anything. So I don't know how many days it is before the
Okay.
meeting. So, I mean, they're gonna have some time before they can do
Gotcha.
anything. They've got to fix those items now.
Okay.
Or they won't get a TCO.
They know what those items are?
We need to meet with them at the building and go over everything Manny and I do before the planning and zoning meeting so that we accurately know what items we need to ask for variances on. The variance process would have a fee if council sees fit, authorizing the city manager to waive that fee could be an option.
So then really all we're gonna do is work towards the rezone because the certificate of occupancy, the temporary is gonna be planning and zoning anyway. So we don't,
At least till the May meeting.
Are we even discussing it?
yeah.
So when,
We can vote to do the residential, commercial, and to let it go back to planning and zoning for a temporary, that would be the gist of it.
And planning and zoning could, if they want to, say, oh, they don't need to do anything. We'll give them a TCO with just the way it is right now. We don't see any issue with it.
Unless y'all say different.
Unless we say different tonight.
here's my question, the complaints, even if we do all this stuff, we're still gonna have the noise complaint.
That's correct.
That's what we have to, I mean,
But that can be mitigated if it's residential, commercial,
Neighborhood commercial.
neighborhood commercial.
Yeah, if it's above the decibel level, I would doubt that.
There's still hours of operation that come into play with a neighborhood commercial property.
What are those?
9 o'clock is your cutoff time.
That's what they're operating now.
Yeah, they're closed, y'all closed before 9, I mean, y'all are at there past 9 now, so that really is kind of a no deal. The noise is still gonna be there for the neighbors, I mean, it is what it is on that.
I mean, is that allowable? That's my question.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
we've got a batting facility back there behind Cat's Barbecue that does the same thing.
There, yeah, I mean, I don't hear anybody complaining about them though. And I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
that's
just,
why I asked about the jugs machine, the automatic, you know, if they could, and I just, the softer balls, maybe just something to eliminate the noise. I know these kids aren't gonna give up their $500 aluminum bats for a wooden baseball bat. But just something to eliminate the noise I have a real good, I'd have a better feeling of doing all this stuff if we eliminated one thing that's being the complaint.
yeah,
But if they're in
is
compliance.
all we can do is enforce the decibel level that's in our ordinances.
Okay.
You know, now, I mean, I'd love for them to air condition the facility and keep the doors closed all the time.
I think that's a little more than $25,000. Yeah, I like what they're doing. I didn't know they were doing it, but, yeah, it sounds like all the complaints are noise related. And if they comply with everything, then the noise isn't gonna be a sticking point anyway.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the zoning request and send it back to planning and zoning for review of temporary occupancy.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the zoning change for 6525 FM 646 South from ag residential to neighborhood, and direct staff to work with landowners and present a plan to come into compliance for temporary certificate of occupancy.
Thank you.
Kelly, is it necessary to y'all's operations to have that door open that's facing 646? Okay, that's something maybe y'all could like rotate them or kind of take turns on which doors y'all open up?
You're on 20. You're on
It's 29th Street.
Oh, 29th.
Doors at
Oh,
29th.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Something y'all could just be a good neighbor about? I mean, I know it gets hot in there in the summertime. All right. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember McCamey,
No.
Councilmember Jeanette,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
and Councilmember Schrader.
Yes.
Motion passes. I meant to say something. Oh, well, it's too late. All right. I was gonna say, if you're not gonna vote for a TCO in the end, then don't do it tonight. Don't drag it out for these people. Finance Director Rudy Zepeda. Consideration and possible action approval of the 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the period ended September 30th, 2025.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In compliance with our city charter, GAP, state law, Council adopted financial policies and procedures. Staff is pleased to bring you the completed audit before Council approval tonight. Before I introduce our special guests behind me, I wanted to share a few insights on the 2025 budget. So the unassigned fund balance in 2025 grew by 4.8 million. The Carbriggs and Ingram, our auditors, has issued an unmodified opinion, meaning the city's financial statements are fairly represented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Strong FEMA recovery from Hurricane Beryl. So following Beryl's impact in July 2024, the city managed its own disaster recovery, as you know, and the debris removal process. And by April of 2025, just 8 months after the storm, FEMA had reimbursed over $604,000 in disaster-related expenses. So as of September, only $14,500 remained outstanding. It's one of the fastest federal reimbursement recoveries that I can recall. So infrastructure MITMOD grant was under budget. As you know, the city completed reconstruction of 5.4 miles of roadway across 16 streets on time and under budget. The remaining funds have been approved for and reapplied back towards the city for a backup generator at the Runge Park Community Facility. And in an effort to be transparent, the report does contain one material weakness related to the end of the year closing process. Certain grant expenses, intergovernmental expenses, and accounts payables were not recorded correctly in the year, requiring several adjustments and audit adjustments at the end, and they can discuss that if you like. Our audit was conducted by the city's independent auditing firm, Carbriggs and Ingram, and I'm pleased to introduce their representative, Ana Gallardo, a partner at CRI, and she can walk you through the rest of the report. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. I'll keep it short and brief. As Rudy had mentioned, we audited your 2025 financials. That also included the EDC as well as part of it. And as he also mentioned, we did issue an modified opinion, so your financials don't have any material misstatements, or we didn't note any departures from accounting principles as well. Okay. As part of our audit, we also did conduct a single audit as well. Since you did have in excess of $1 million of federal expenditures required, you have a single audit. The program that we determined to be a major program that we tested was the community block grant funding for there. Within that, we also issued a modified opinion on the compliance of that program. We didn't find any deficiencies or any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies related to your controls over that program. Okay. Again, for this year, we also did assist the city with the financial statements. I think what you're presented is your annual comprehensive report. So we did assist with the financial statements, all the required information, supplemental information, other information required to be part of that report to be able to submit to the GFOA. We also assisted the city with doing the data collection form, which is part of the single audit, to be in compliance with that, and Rudy filed it timely as well. And we continue to assist with the GASB entries that going from fund accounting over to government-wide financial statements. And I just wanted to kind of mention, Rudy did mention that we did have a finding related to your financials. But I also wanted to mention too, we didn't have any difficulties with management or disagreement with management. They provided us information that we requested. We're not aware of anything unusual within your financials that we noted, or any fraud is not our main purpose of our audit, but through our inquiries and through our testing of transactions, we didn't become aware of anything fraud or illegal acts we noted your financial statements. Okay, that's all that I had for you.
Did you find any money that we had missed?
No, I did not.
Stashed away.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
And one more thing, staff does expect to hear from the GFOA by December whether or not the city has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting, and that would be the city's 4th such award recognition. If we get it.
Thank you, Rudy. All right, council, any further discussion on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report as presented.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report as presented. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Schrader,
Here, yes.
this isn't
Oh,
school.
man, I just,
Councilmember McCamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marks?
Yes?
Okay.
Motion passes, thank you.
so when did Reveille make an appearance at our,
You've already approved it, and you voted yes. Saw Varsity's horns.
I couldn't oh my goodness.
All right, number 7, consideration and possible action. Adoption of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Santa Fe, Texas, approving a 2-year contract between the City of Santa Fe, Texas and Flock Group, Inc. for the Flock camera safety software, and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement and related documents on behalf of the city chief Shores.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, we've discussed the Flock Safety Program in budget meetings, current budget meetings, years prior budget meetings, but Flock Safety equips the police department with the tools to prevent crime, respond to incidents, and solve cases effectively. Flock Safety provides license plate reader cameras that monitor 24/7, providing real-time alerts for stolen vehicles, wanted suspects, and other critical information. This capability aids investigations by confirming the vehicle presence at crime scenes and/or certain locations. The Flock Safety software unifies all data, enabling us to map activity, search for evidence, and collaborate easily with other jurisdictions that also have Flock cameras. Overall, Flock Safety leads to faster investigations, reduced crime, improved emergency responses, and stronger deterrent against repeat offenses. The system is easy to maintain and adheres to clear privacy and data retention policies, helping cities become safer, more resilient for the residents and for the visitors. Yesterday, I picked up a check from a local business for $6,300. The local business has volunteered to pay for 2 Flock cameras for the first year of service. With this contract, they're requesting a second year of service, but there is also a non-appropriation clause in the contract. So if we continue and we do not find money in the fiscal year 27 budget to fund these 2 cameras, which would be a reoccurring cost of $6,000, $3,000 per camera, we can enact the non-appropriation clause and we can get out of this contract without having to pay any penalties.
All right, council, any questions?
How many cameras you planning on putting up? One at every street?
So this would, if you guys approve this tonight, that would pay for 2 cameras.
That's not what I asked. How many cameras you plan on installing in the city?
With this, I can only install 2.
And we have 2 coming up in the
Do
budget.
you have any installed yet?
Right now, no, sir. The city does not have any installed cameras. The current cameras that are around the city are just outside the city limits, except for 1 camera. There's a camera on Cemetery Road at Oleo, and it's on the Water District property. It's on the Drainage District property, but it was paid for by the county. All the other cameras There is a camera at Avenue F and Highway 6, just outside the city limits. There is a camera on the west end by Rival Road, just outside the city limits. There's 2 more on Cemetery that are just outside the city limits. But with this, we would be able to do 2.
And this doesn't affect our budget,
Currently.
our next year's budget that we're coming. This is just something for right now. Gotcha. And all we're asked to do right here is to
Allow me to sign a 2-year contract.
a contract.
That we can get out of if we absolutely want to.
Well,
Council, any further discussion? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resolution for a 2-year contract with Flock Group, Inc. as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the city manager to execute a 2-year contract between the city of Santa Fe and Flock for the Flock camera safety software. Council, any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jeanette,
No.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Schrader,
Yes.
and Councilmember McKamey.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Item number 8, consideration and possible action, adoption of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Santa Fe, Texas, approving the submission of a grant application to the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority for the fiscal year 2027 Task Force Grant and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement and related documents on behalf of the city. Chief Shores.
Again, Mayor and Council, good evening. Last year, we applied for this grant and we did not receive it. So it is not guaranteed that we would receive this grant even after the approved application. What we're asking for tonight is for review of this and to be approved to even apply for this grant because there is a resolution tied to it. So it would be a fiscal year 27 grant. It is commonly called the Catalytic Converter Theft Grant. As you guys have seen, we've done some of the catalytic converter etching events in partnership with the Sheriff's Office and QuickCar, because that is one of the requirements of this grant. So we've been helping them out with that. They've said if we wind up getting approved for the grant, they would help us out with that to meet some of those stipulations. The total project budget is for what we would like to apply for is $273,147. The match requested would be $227,622 for a difference of $45,525. And that would be our 20% match, the city's 20% match to the grant.
So we get 80%, and it'd be 20% that we would have to put towards that.
Where would that 20% come from?
We would have to budget for that. It would be fiscal year 27.
I'm sure you had to budget for it. The question was, where would you find that? Absolutely, you got to budget for it, but you got to find somewhere to budget it from.
Right. And that's what would be discussed in budget meetings.
So a portion of it is to go after is to get, I think it's 2 vehicles that's a part of that program, and we typically budget, I know that a vehicle or 2 anyways, and so that would be a cost that we already have in our budget, that could be that part of that allocation, could go towards that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, council, any further discussion?
I move to approve the resolution approving the submission of a grant application to the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the submission of a grant application for the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority for the fiscal year 2027 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement and related documents on behalf of the city. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette,
No.
Councilmember McKamey,
Yes.
and Councilmember Schrader.
Yes.
Thank you. And just because you approved that,
Passes.
oh, sorry. Just because you guys approved that does not mean everything that in here is going to get approved by MVCPA.
Just apply for it.
In July, we still have to go before a live board and present, and they will tell us whether or not we can have some of these items in the grant or not. So it could be less money. And obviously, I would report that back to you guys.
But it still be on the 80% deal, right?
Yes, still an 80-20 match.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Item number 9, consideration possible action, first reading of an ordinance of the City of Santa Fe, Texas, repealing ordinance 13-87, Chapter 7, Section 7, Subsection C and D of the Code of Ordinance to result in the dissolution of the Library Advisory Board, providing repeal clause, severability clause, and everything.
Really?
Hello, council.
Hey, Becky.
What'd you say?
What I do now? Do you want me to read the background information? Okay, so what we're asking for is in alignment with the City of Santa Fe strategic plan and ongoing efforts to improve organizational efficiency and streamlining advisory structures, the city proposes dissolving the Library Advisory Board. The strategic plan emphasized reducing redundancies and ensuring that the advisory bodies deliver clear, necessary value to municipal operations. I put too many big words in here. The review of current requirements confirmed that the Library Advisory Board is not mandated for accreditation. So the Texas State Library and Archives Commission let me know that. As such, the continued operation of the board is not necessary to maintain the library's accreditation status or eligibility for state programs and resources. Library operations, performance metrics, and strategic initiatives will continue to be monitored and reported through established administrative channels. Regular updates will be provided directly to the city manager and city council, ensuring transparency and accountability. In addition, the library maintains collaboration and communications with the Friends of the Mae S. Bruce Library, whose ongoing support and advocacy remain valuable to the library program and the community engagement. And the proposed change and administrative in nature and is not expected to negatively impact library services, public access, or community programming. Instead, it is intended to simplify reporting processes, allow staff to focus more directly on service deliverables and strategic priorities. Staff extends its sincere appreciation to all the Library Advisory Board members for their dedicated service, time, and commitment to the library and its mission. Their contribution has played an important role in enhancing library services and strengthening community engagement. Although the board is proposed for dissolution, staff encourages former members to remain actively involved and continue their support to the Mae S. Bruce Library. Their experience, advocacy, and passion for the library services are highly valued, and their continued involvement will benefit the library and its patrons. The recommended action, therefore, is staff recommends that the City Council approve the dissolution of the Library Advisory Board in alignment with the city's strategic plan and its broader initiatives to enhance operational efficiency, streamline advisory structures, and reduce redundancies. The action will support more direct communications and reporting between the library staff, the city manager, and city council, while maintaining transparency and accountability in library operations.
Thank you, Becky.
I can't talk as fast as you.
Council, any questions for Becky?
Just a streamlining process.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move to approve the dissolution of the Library Advisory Board in alignment with the city's strategic plan.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the dissolution of the Library Advisory Board. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Schrader?
Yes.
Councilmember McKamey?
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette?
Yes.
And Councilmember Marks?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you all.
Council. Item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the sale and discharge of fireworks within the city limits of Santa Fe, Texas. Chief Renta.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, part of the agenda package, we updated the ordinance reference for the sale and fireworks allowed throughout the city, and modifying the ordinance for allowing fireworks to be popped within the city limits. I don't know if you had that already to read over, or if you had any particular questions for it. It's been studied upon by myself and our planning department with Miss Georgia. We've been kind of going over it back and forth and trying to get some, finding what's what's kind of the best practice, what other communities are doing. We've been seeking outside kind of opinions, other fire marshal offices and other people within the industry. So that's kind of what we presented to the, on the agenda package. So if you had any particular questions at this time, I'd be glad to share my opinion or best knowledge towards it.
Will you summarize it for us?
The ordinance that we had, definition, obviously in the fireworks, it kind of goes into the legal definition that we'll describe of it, prohibitions mainly that are out there. The exceptions, it's more the legalese defining of what the fireworks to consist of, and the code by transportation code that defines it, the explosive ordinance of 1.3 and 1.4. So if we go down into it kind of leaves alone what we have as a public displayed fireworks. That would become from a commercial pyrotechnic operator who are regulated differently through the Department of Insurance. So they'll have their permitting, and it doesn't affect them at all. It just kind of clearly maintains it in there for that presence, such as the experience that we'll be utilizing for July 4th or any other exhibits that we do throughout the city. So that stays present. What we'll have is essentially, and we still have the legal requirements that declare what fireworks are considered illegal and are nuisance if they're not regulated. So a lot of that language is still present. Essentially what we have here is the changes it's going into is the sales requirements, what the requirements will be for a fireworks stand, who can buy it, how they are to operate. It's going to determine what seasons they will be allowed to open and sell, and how they are to basically have their display stands and accessible to the public if they seek to make entry and get a requested sales permit within the city limits of Santa Fe. There's a lot of language out there throughout the state, and there's a lot of activity in the firework industry. So having to do some of the research myself is kind of going into that language. But the best practices with our neighboring communities that have allowed the ordinance to utilize such practices is, kind of what we've been going through and kind of reviewing is what we've presented to y'all.
And council, by the way, we're not the only community in our area that's looking at amending their fireworks policies. I know I've talked to a couple city managers that are looking at doing the same thing.
I don't see in here removal time. I see when they can pop firecrackers and when they can sell firecrackers.
Like a temporary building, is that what you're talking
I
about?
don't see the chain, we talked about having where they can't just leave, they have so many days to get the, to set up and get it off the site.
Reviewing it, I don't think I left that particular language in there.
I think somebody said 7 before and 7 after.
It would be, and that will might not, correct me if I'm wrong, that particular language might not be necessarily within the ordinance. At times it could be attached to the conditional use for the sales during that permitting process, so I might be off on that, but if it's not within ordinance, we can always tie that particularly to.
My only other thing is, and like I said it before, we're gonna let them start selling on the 20th. And there's no rules in the county where they can just pop firecrackers, but we're not gonna let our people or our city residents pop them until on the 31st. They've got we're gonna sell these firecrackers or whatever, fireworks from the 20th to the 31st. 11 days. And we're giving them 6 hours to shoot firecrackers. I think that's crazy. I mean,
What do you propose? Shortening the selling period or extending the popping period?
to be fair, I don't think you can enforce, when you're selling them out there, I mean, I'm 12 years old. I walk down the store and buy me a thing of Black Cats on December 21st. I'm not waiting till December 31st to pop the things. You know, that's just not gonna happen. I'm good with those hours right there for the artillery shells. I'm good for making the artillery shell portion of this, only let them able for that one day, for them 6 hours.
That's hard to enforce.
Huh?
That's hard to enforce when you start picking and choosing what kind of fireworks.
That's the
you
ones people complain about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what.
I'm not
rattles-
disagreeing with you.
That's
I'm
what
just-
that's what rattles
hard to
people's
enforce.
windows. That's what people are mad about. I've learned to live with it. I'm in between them. Cause I'm gonna tell you what, one of the best shows in Santa Fe is on Lone Pine, there in the county area.
Do you want to propose an amendment to this?
We have to get what they're complaining about. The people are complaining about the loud noise fireworks, and that's the artillery shells. I don't know what, that's what I call them, I don't know what the. Yes.
But regardless, we're gonna be sitting in the same position we're sitting in right now, where
That's-
people are doing what they wanna do.
That's
anyway.
your
That's the only reason,
That's the only reason we're making it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're putting some enforcement on it, but we're gonna be sitting in the same place where we are in.
I mean, to me, truthfully, it's a way to get sales tax. And people are doing it now, they don't care about the rules as they are. I mean, I'm good with this, but we will know, I don't wanna make it, anybody try to trick anybody. We're doing this for sales tax. We're doing this for sales tax.
I'm doing it for freedom.
And we're probably, well,
if you regulate.
You're giving them for 6 hours of freedom, Brandon, come on.
Hey, one step at a time, we're taking back the country, Rusty.
Okay.
It'd be challenging to determine which fireworks. I understand.
That's what I'm
what you're
saying,
talking
yeah.
about, the aerial aspect.
But I mean, the people are gonna, we're probably still not gonna enforce this policy.
It's Aggie freedom, Rusty.
Huh?
Aggie freedom.
Yeah.
6 hours.
I've seen the Aggie freedom, it's right there, deal here.
The majority of the complaints, as responding to the cause and the incidents is noise.
Yeah.
And this ordinance here, this modification of the ordinance, I don't want to say this ordinance because it's not new, it's just a modification. In effect, will allow those people who know are affected, who have, whether sensitivity issues to the hearing or other concerns and or pets and, say dogs, cats, or even horses, that it might, not be triggered up by that.
Well,
we would give them that window to prepare.
But we can always
In
say.
the best effort, I think it would.
Our sales are going, they're used to the county.
How, Manny, are you comfortable with this from a fire marshal standpoint?
Yes, as long as it stays within that regulated level of fireworks, and we'll still be out there patrolling. We'll still be out there, the intent, with an emphasis on education versus the enforcement action. And hopefully people will be more approachable to it, and, to maintain that safety vision for it. And, the families will, feel more at ease to participate in their celebration activities.
Thank you. I know it took some time and work to put this together. I appreciate you putting it together.
It wasn't alone, it was a team approach to it. I think I just did it by myself.
No, I guess we'll give Georgia a little credit.
Well, she was giving you the stare too. I was looking.
I'm just hungry.
I move to approve the fireworks ordinance as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the fireworks ordinance as presented. Council, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, roll call, please.
Councilmember Schrader,
Yes.
Councilmember McKamey,
Yes.
Councilmember Jeanette,
Yes.
and Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
Well, today is the official first day of the Galveston County Fair and Rodeo. So I want to wish the Santa Fe community, all of our FFA and 4-H kids, good luck as they exhibit their animals this next weekend and next week. Just happy Fair Week to everybody in Santa Fe. Enjoy yourselves. Don't drink and drive. Get an Uber, or we will get one for you, won't we, Chief? That's got a bubble gum machine on the top of it.
Rudy ain't talked long enough. He wants to talk some more.
Yes.
Mayor, I just want to let you know, this was not my idea.
But I let him know that it was
This is,
confusing. I let him
I
know.
might have created it, but I wasn't responsible for this.
When will the matted and framed version be available?
When will budget come up with salaries?
Hey, I saw some good burnt orange bluebonnets today. Let's go ahead and throw them in there too. Reveille can have them in his background.
Order, order!
Hey, I just want to make an announcement. This weekend, starting Saturday at 8 a.m., the Friends of the Library is holding their annual Serendipity Sale. So that's a garage sale, a plant sale, and a bake sale. And so we're going to do that until 1 o'clock, and so 8 to 1 on Saturday. So if y'all stop on by, you might get some good food too. So there you go.
Becky?
I'd like to announce that on May 15th, at 6:30, I believe, at the fire department, we're having another Santa Fe Ducks Unlimited event. Another,
Right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
Is that the Delta Creek Park Field, or is that just?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Just a second.
Take advantage of that silence.
Well, we're ready to go.